La 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 la. Oh, wow. Hey everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being here. Just wanted to go live again, just finish up this book we got here. Just wanted to go over some information as well that we've gone over before for all the new people, and just to refresh everybody on what we've gone over before, just to get a little bit more clarity. I know a lot of people saw the video yesterday and it was like, but curimeo, ruddy means this, black means this, brown means this, and still a lot of doubters out there, still a lot of people trying to explain why these descriptions are like this. And yes, I know that maybe a so-called white person might be called dark because he's darker than the rest of them, or maybe brown or even ruddy, but that's all conjecture. That's all conjecture. We don't know in which case it is, in which case it's not. All right, that's why we go with a lot of different sources, a lot of different correlations, a lot of different research we've gone over before. All right, so I wanted to begin today going over some information we've gone over before. All right, so just bear with me. Let me share this. And again, Much love and respect to everybody tuned in. Trying to give a little bit of time too for those who are just coming in. Let me know if you can hear me, just in case. I hope I'm not talking to myself right here. Just hit a 1 if you can hear me. And yeah, let's try to see if we can get some more people to come in. But with the ones we have now, it's fine too. You know, we're gonna get this started. All right, let me just share my screen. All right, so just want to start out with this video. It has some good info in the beginning, and then I wanted to go and forward to the 12-minute. But first, let me just go to the beginning right here, where we're gonna go over a book we've gone over before. But just again, since we're going over these muster rolls and everything, you know, we see sometimes them describing Europeans of dark complexion. Well, let's remind everybody what Benjamin Franklin said to everybody, and what we got here, looking at right now, that is Charles V. All right, the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V. All right, this is from the Black Jacobites video I made. John McKee, description of the Jacobites' complexion from an old book from 1733. Right, same period that we are reading this book, Virginia's Colonial Soldiers from. All right, so again, if people don't know, real quick, I'm going to show this one. We went over it yesterday. If you missed the video from yesterday, this is the book right here, Virginia's Colonial Soldiers by Lloyd DeWitt Buckstruck. This is for educational purposes, fair use. All right, this is not mine. We're just educate. This is just for education. We're trying to build here, be a community, discuss this information as a community, fair use. All right, so let me go ahead and just start this real quick. 1 second. So we're gonna go over, because we went over yesterday some descriptions. One of them was swarthy, right? So a lot of people still like hesitant about the whole word swarthy, right? They try to interpret it in a lot of different ways, but it's very clear to me. So let's just go over the information again. Get it like it's the first time. Much love and respect to everybody tuned in. Thank you for being here. Franklin said. All right, so before I begin the video, I wanted to remind everybody this information, well, this book that we gone over, something Benjamin Franklin said that we need to really pay attention to, right? So the book is called Observations Concerning the Increase of Mankind, Peopling of Countries, by Benjamin Franklin. All right, Benjamin Franklin wrote this. All right, this is from 1755. All right, and we're on page 10 of this book, and this is what Benjamin Franklin says point 24, which he's making observations, right? He's given, which leads me to add one remark. He says that the number of purely white people in the world is proportionally very small. It's very small. You're the minority. All Africa is black or tawny. Asia chiefly tawny. All right, tawny, a darker complexion, right? Not white. America exclusive of the newcomers, wholly so. All right, what is that saying? America is what? Black or tawny, wholly so, except the new people, the newcomers, meaning that the aboriginals that were already there is wholly what? Black or tawny. All right, Benjamin Franklin, you know. And in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, Swedes are generally of what we call swarthy complexion. Swarthy. All right, just in case you don't know what swarthy is, just a quick reminder, we're here in the American Dictionary of the English language. All right, this is actually Webster's 1828 dictionary. All right, I got the official PDF. We're gonna go all the way to the word swarthy. All right, and right here it says swart,
right? Almost sounds like Stewart. Swart, Stewart, Swart, Stewart. Is that what they get the Stewart? Did it mean black or dark? What is swart? It says being of dark hue, moderately black, tawny, swarth. All right. Down here it says swart to make tawny or brown. Swart, an apparition. Swartly. All right. Duskly with a tawny hue. Says swartness, tawniness, a dusky or dark complexion. Dark complexion, all right? Dark complexion. Swarty, being of a dark hue or dusky complexion. Tawny, in warm climates, the complexion of men is universally what? Swarty or what? Black in warm climates. Is there only warm climates in Africa? No, we have warm climates all over the world, right? The Moors, Spaniards, and Italians are more swarty than the French, Germans, and English. This says their swarty hosts would darken all our plains. Swarty. All right, black, as the swarty African, it says, right? As the swarty African. So the African is swarty, right? Swarty is a tawny color. Swartish, somewhat dark or tawny. Swarty, tawny. All right. So you get the picture, right? Swarty. So an African is swarty, right? Black, right? So again, he said, Benjamin Franklin, that in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, French, Italians, Spaniards, and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarty complexion, black complexion, as are the Germans. So is the Germans. So who's the real Quakers and Puritans that were coming over here? The Saxons only accepted who, with the English, make the principal body of white people on the face of the earth, he says, according to him, right? So he's saying that the Saxons and the English and his English lineage, right? Not all of the English, we'll see later. I could wish their numbers were increased. He said, I wish there was more white people because it seems that all of Europe is basically swarthy. All right, so now we're in this book. Thought it was a great find. It's called Memoirs of the Secret Service of John Mackay or Mackay during the reigns of King William, Queen Anne, and King George I, including also the true secret history of the rise, promotions of the English and Scots nobility, officers, civil, military, naval, and other persons of distinction from the Revolution in their respective characters at large, drawn up by Mr. Mackay, pursuant to the direction of Her Royal Highness and the Princess Sophia. Right, published from his original manuscript and attested by his son Spring Mackay, Esquire, the second edition. And
All right. So that's the book that I'm gonna just we're reading right now, just real quick, just one little section again, just a reminder. And again, I wanted to show you this. Let's not forget what we've learned before. Let's not forget at all. All right. A lot of people still talking about, oh, Swarty. Swarty doesn't mean that. Cootie Meal don't know what he's talking about. You guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Swarty, 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 huh? So Webster's 1828 dictionary, black, like the African who's Swarty, right? So if an African is Swarty, right, and they're calling the Irishman Swarty, and then you're telling me, well, the Irishman, they don't mean black, so that's all conjecture. You can't prove that because we know it means dark skin and it means so-called black as an African, all right? Swarty, all right? Now, I'm going to go over to this part again. This is the book from John Mackay from the 1733, and he's describing again the Jacobites. All right, we're going to just get it like it's the first time, just real quick, and then we'll move on.
Reign of Edward VI. I remember these are the people he's spying on. So these are the Jacobites. All right. So first thing I want to do is show you the hijack. All right. But please dodge the hijack. I'm about to show you why. Please dodge the hijack. This is Charles Seymour VI, Duke of Somerset. All right, supposedly same person. All right. Now I just want to see the picture they're showing here. All right, do you see that? All right, we see a white guy, right? A little bit of curly hair, a little bit of curly hair. Right, he got some curls in it, but we got a white guy, right? Now we're gonna go ahead, all right, and get to this part of the book where it describes what he looks like. It says he is of middle stature, well-shaped, and very black complexion. Very black complexion. A lover of music and poetry, of good judgment but reason, of great hesitation in his speech, wants expression. He is about 42 years old. All right, what is he? Very black complexion. All right, the Duke of Somerset. Yet in Wikipedia, we're finding something else, right? They're showing us a white guy here. So dodge the hijack. This is a later on painting. And look what he's pointing at. Look at the subliminal on this. All right, let me just try to zoom in so you guys can see this. All right, he's pointing at the so-called Negro. So this is probably Seymour over here. They're showing him. Why is he pointing at him? Do you see the trickery? He's pointing at the so-called Negro man, child or person over here. Who's the real Charles Duke of Somerset? Why is he pointing at him? All right, they're lying because he's again very black complexion. I remember this is historically accurate what he's writing. He's a spy and he's writing to King William. Very black complexion. The next person we're gonna talk about and he's gonna describe is Sidney, Lord Godolphin, Lord High Treasurer, a treasurer of England. Before we go to him, what do we say in Wikipedia? Sidney Godolphin, first Earl of Godolphin, Secretary of State, Northern Department, First Lord of the Treasury. We're talking about the same person here. But check out the image. Look at the image. They're showing us a white guy. All right, before we read the description, with this person right here, would you think he's in any way dark skin or of a dark complexion or black or swarty, tan, even a little bit brown? Do you see any of that here in this painting? No, right? But check out the curls again. You see the wigs, the curls, the curls. Look at that. Oh, they gotta add something. Is he pointing at a so-called Negro too? No, I guess he's not. But now let's read what he looks like in reality. We're gonna go. All right. So it talks about him. It says he has an admirable, clear understanding of slow speech with an awful serious deportment. Thus more than he promises, an enemy to flattery, show and violence of very hard access, but that being equally deemed to all degrees of people, makes it supportable of a low stature. Thin, with a very black and stern countenance, near 60 years old. All right, he's very what? Very black, very black. Does this guy look like he's very black? Does this guy look like he's very black to you? Huh? Very black? Dodge the hijack. Very black.
All
All
right,
right,
all right. So that
next
was just two
person.
examples from this book. Again, a lot of people really get, well, Kurimeo, how do you know they're not talking about white? How do you know? Because black man, white, right? So they found that in the 1828 Webster's Dictionary. This book is from 1733. This is before the Webster's Dictionary. They're trying to over there blanket something, I feel, honestly, because we know the Scottish Highlanders, the Stuarts, the Jacobites, the followers of King James. Most of these people were people of color, black, yes, so-called black. So we're not over here trying to guess. We know we already got the history. This is just more correlation. Again, 1733 is before 1828. You want to say it's white, that's all conjecture because we got the correlation of other uh, sources and proof that we know, right? Or anybody here in the chat still think King James was white? Can I get can who still thinks King James is white? Raise your hand. And the Jacobites, all right? And if you thought that, then you must have not watched my Swarty Europe video. I believe it was part 2 or 3, and we went over a little bit yesterday. Just let people know that we've talked over all this. We've shown that Europe, the anthropology there, the history, the books, the sources are telling us that a lot of these people, the original people of Europe, what they were calling the small dark Welsh, the dark Irish, the dark Celts, the dark Danes, the black Scottish, they were there hundreds and thousands of years. They were there, indigenous people in Europe. They didn't just come out of Africa when the Moors came up. That's just part of the story. You got to go deeper than that. All right. So again, that was just an example. We had in the Swarty Europe video, we actually read the muster rolls of the ship list, the passenger list of the Jacobite prisoners that came over, and it verified, it described them. It described them so-called black or dark or swarthy, and when they were pale, it would say pale, just like we're going to read today in the Virginia's Colonial Soldiers book. They distinguish the colors. So they're not talking about just white, all right, or just black, so-called black. All right, we're not talking about crayon colors, but we are a little bit today, but only so we can learn and understand what we're seeing when we read these things, especially in these times. All right. Now, I wanted to, so we know Europeans were dark skinned. All right. Now, this is from the Lincoln video I did, The Truth About Abraham Lincoln, the runaway indentured servant colored man. All right. Yeah. If you haven't seen this, we proved, all right, we proved without a benefit of doubt that he was a colored person, so called Negro, I'm sorry, Abraham Lincoln. All right. Now we're gonna get in this book. This is about an hour in already in this video. Again, if you haven't checked this video out, make sure to catch this video. The whole history, who his parents were, his Melungeon part, his Black German part, and all that. How he describes himself, how his mom is described, how his dad is described in many references, and we're just gonna get it again for the first time here, so we can know that these supposed to, he's supposed to be, white, and he's supposed to be a descendant of a white European, right? That's why he's white, and all the white people came from Europe, right? Well, then, was he really white? So let's get a little bit of this real quick.
Reason why he might be scared to get lynched. All right, we're in the book The Hidden Lincoln, from the letters and papers of William H. Herndon, Emmanuel Hertz. This is from 1940. We're on page 184 of this book, and it says there's a letter here from June 24th, 1887. Mr. Bartlett, my dear sir, right? They're writing to that person, and it seems by your friend W.H. Henderson, right? And he's writing about what Mr. Lincoln looks like. It says, you speak of Mr. Lincoln's fine physical nature, but to see and study the man, you would say that Mr. Lincoln's physical nature was comparatively low, coarse, and not fine and high. He seemed to have no blood in his frame. His flesh was dark. His flesh was dark. Darkness. All right, all this dark. Where's the pale? Again, they keep showing us these white pictures of Abraham Lincoln growing up. Every time we Google Lincoln, every time we try to look for him, even in these books that are describing him as dark complexion, they keep putting a white pale face Lincoln in the cover of the book, even though they're writing his flesh was dark. So why would he be afraid to get lynched? Because his flesh was dark. It says here, wrinkled and folded. It looked dry and leathery, tough and everlasting. His eyes were small and gray, head small and forehead receding. But when this great man was moved by some great or good feeling, by some idea of liberty or justice or right, then he seemed an inspired man. But his flesh was what? Dark. In the same book on page 361, down here says Josh C. Richardson's statement from, it says here, my father came to Spencer County, Indiana in 1828. It says Lincoln was tall, a raw boned at 18. When 16 years of age, he was 6 feet high. He was so tall, right? He was somewhat bony and raw, dark-skinned. Dark-skinned. What does this mean? Oh, Pacurimeo, that means pale. No, dark-skinned. Why do they keep showing us pale-face images of Abraham Lincoln? And we're getting only accounts of him being dark-skinned from everybody. Dark-skinned, dark complexion, dark features, dark face, bronze, dark brown face, dark brown complexion, dark skin. He was quick and moved with energy. He never idled away his time. All right, so they're describing him here. We're gonna get one more in this book on page 412. We get down here, Lincoln, the individual, and they start describing him. Let's see what he says. It says, it is now the time to describe the person, Mr. Lincoln. He was about 6 feet 4 inches high, and when he left the city, was 51 years old, having good health and no gray hairs or but few on his head. He was thin, wiry, sinewy, I don't know how to say that, raw and big heavy boned, thin through the breast to the back and narrow across the shoulders. Standing, he leaned forward and was what may be called stoop-shouldered, inclining to the consumptively built, his usual weight being about 160 or 80 pounds. His organization, rather his structure and functions, worked slowly. His blood had to run a long distance from his heart to the extremities of his frame. He was so long, right? His bones were long, he was tall, and his nerve force had to travel through dry ground a long distance before his muscles were obedient to his will. His organisms and structure were loose and leathery. His body was well shrunk, cadaverous, and shriveled, having very dark skin. Very dark skin. We're adding an adjective to this. We're not just saying he's dark skinned, he's very dark skinned. We're not talking about a tan, we're not talking about some pale faced dude who might have look a little Semitic. No, he is very dark skinned. They're describing the individual. They told you in the beginning of this. Say, let's get to his character. He is very dark skinned, dry and tough, wrinkled and lined, somewhat in flabby folds, dark hair, the man looking woe-struck. The whole man, body and mind, worked slowly, creakingly, and as if it needed oiling. Physically, he was very powerful man, lifting, as he said, with ease, 400 or 600 pounds. He was mad strong. You see, Abraham Lincoln was mad strong. He was just a little scrawny and bony and weird looking, but he was really strong. His mind was like his body, and blood worked slowly, but his body and mind functioned strongly through his blood and moved slowly. All right, so again, having what? Very dark skin, a very dark skin. Any questions? In this book now, it's called The Life of Abraham Lincoln, drawn from original sources and containing many speeches, letters, and telegrams, hitherto unpublished by Ida M. Tarbell, Volume 1. This is from 1900. On page 360 of this book, it says, they noted his great height, his huge hands and feet, his peculiar languidness of limb, his shoulders drooped as he stood, giving his form a look of irresolution. His smooth-shaven face seemed of bronze as he listened to their message and amazed them by its ruggedness. The cheeks were sunken, the cheekbones high, the nose large, the mouth unsymmetrical, the underlip protruding a little. All right, so he's what? His face is what? Bronze. A bronze face. Bronze. What is the color of bronze? Here in the scheme of color website, we have shiny bronze color scheme. So shiny bronze, right? This is a different palettes. This is more like platinum, as it says here. As you can see, you know, showing the gray is actually platinum, but all the rest says, look, Philippine bronze. Look at that color. Bronze, right? Dark bronze. Here goes metallic bronze. And then bronze metallic, right? All dark complexions, dark colors, right? We got another palette here. Scheme color says dark bronze, monochromatic color scheme, dark bronze. You see? All right, who does this resemble more? Is this white people right here? Let's go to the palette here too. Philippine bronze again, dark bronze, golden brown. Look at that. Chinese brown. So look at this, dark bronze, look at bronze. So again, his face, his shoven face seemed of bronze. He had a bronze face. Now we're in.
Oh, Dutch the hijack. Sorry about that. You know they gotta make their little, but they ain't giving me none of it.
This book, it says here the Lincoln Encyclopedia. All right, this is the Lincoln Encyclopedia, the spoken and written words of Abraham Lincoln, from his own words, people. All right, an encyclopedia of his own words, arranged for ready reference, compiled and edited by Archer H. Shaw, with introduction by David C. Mearns, assistant librarian from the Library of Congress. This is from 1950. All right, an encyclopedia, the Lincoln Encyclopedia. Let's see what we find in here. And we're on page 190 of this book, of this encyclopedia, right? All right, so we're zoomed in into page 190, and it says here the personal description of Abraham Lincoln, his own personal descriptions, right? We're in encyclopedia, Library of Congress. Pay attention, people. It says, perhaps you have forgotten me. Don't you remember a long black fellow who rode on horseback with you from Tremont to Springfield nearly 10 years ago? swimming our horses over the machina on the trip. Well, I am that same old fellow. All right, so that was Abraham Lincoln writing to somebody, to Josephus Hewitt on February 13th, 1848, saying, "Do you remember, man? I'm the black dude. I'm the black fellow." Got another one here. Again, we have this already. Just want to verify. We got it from a different source and a verifiable source, right? It says, if any personal description of me is thought desirable, it may be said that I am in height 6 feet 4 inches, nearly lean in flesh, weighing an average 180 pounds, dark complexion. All right. Again, dark complexion with coarse black hair and dark eyes. No other marks or brands recollected. Remember what that meant? That meant he was making fun that he used to be a slave and he ran away. He did it like an ad. All right. So now we
All
finally
right.
get to this.
All right. So we again go ahead and catch the full video if you haven't. All right, on your own time. This was from last year, May, almost a year ago. And yeah, it should be mainstream already. It's got 58,000 views, but I guess people are more interested in other things. I showed so many sources in this video, proven, not just him, but his parents' history, who they were, how his dad was a Quaker German and all this stuff. So we know the history about these Europeans. A lot of them were crypto Jews and Moorish Muslims who eventually, because they were being persecuted, went around different countries and, became so-called new Christians, right? They were still practicing their religious though in secret. That's why they were called crypto. A lot of these people became Protestants, Quakers, all the rest, denominations, religions that came under Christian, right? So that was again the truth about Abraham Lincoln. I just wanted to show you. So we know there was so-called Black Europeans that came. We know that they were here. We know that a lot of these people got whitewashed. All right, we were, they were told a narrative, a lie, basically. Why they did it. I mean, I guess it becomes a little obvious, but then it gets really confusing too. Like, because then a lot of these, what we were so used to blaming the so-called white man for everything, but in colonial times, it wasn't just the white man, and it was very, very. The percentage was a lot lower than people of color coming over from Europe. All right. As years go, you guys are gonna see, and you're gonna see Yo Kuti Mail actually, he had a point. His research, he was getting to that. I because I never thought I'd get this far. I mean, it was just an idea I had, and to find the books, to find the sources, primary sources. We're not talking about just somebody from Africa, Pan African, who writes a book, all biased, right? Well, they were Black, Scottish, but they were from Africa. So the whole book is that, or they came before Columbus. Everything's about Africans coming over, African this, Africa that. If we ever learned about any European or anybody being of color or Indians, it was always an African, right? Or if we heard the word European or Caucasian, or actually associating Caucasian actually to white, because the original Caucasians were actually the Black Asiatics. Future video. I got all this. This is research that's going on right now. We are going to do it. We're going to prove it. All right. I'm going to prove it to you. All right. So, again, this video is from last year. I'm still people, and I got people still doubting me. I got people still talking about Swati don't mean nothing, Swati. And a lot of you in the chat, well, not a lot of you, actually, a few of you, because I don't see all of you over there, but a few of you actually go onto other people's channel. I see you. I see them. I see you guys in the chat. You guys are adults. You guys can do whatever you want. But what you want me to do, Kurime? I listen to. I learn from both of you. Well, what are you learning? To hate on me? Same person's talking bad about me, talking about Swati on me. This he don't know what he's talking about. He's making all this up, and you over there throwing fire signs at him over there. And now you over here throwing fire signs over here now. So it's funny, it's confusing. But hey, that's how you get down. Whatever, man. All right. But again, Webster's dictionary, right? Swati, black like an African. All right. That's it. You can't tell me that doesn't mean black. All right. So-called black, crayon colors. All right. So now, again, we're going to read Continue reading from Virginia's Colonial Soldiers. We're gonna get back into some more videos later on, real quick, but we just want to go over the book again. Virginia's Colonial Soldiers. All right, from the 1700s, Lloyd DeWitt box truck, fair use. All right, and we begin with the. Let's see what we got. Okay. All right, so again, you guys remember, if you didn't see the video yesterday, make sure to catch part 1 of this installment. And you know, we basically were reading the muster rolls and what they of historic muster rolls from the archives, Library of Congress, the Virginia Historical Society, and so on and so on. Very prominent scholarly sources. And we begin here. This is where we left off yesterday. Just about. Now we got Archibald Lockhart, right? Remember, these are colonial soldiers from Virginia, 1700s, all right? 1700s. We got Archibald Lockhart. He's a planter. He's from Scotland. And what does it say right away? He's dark complexion. So are you going to tell me, Kurimeo, but that means pale. That means white, Kurimeo. That means, well, you know, tall, dark, and handsome. You know, again, opinions, conjecture, you know, it's okay. You can have your opinion, but you know, over here in this channel, we try to prove things. We try to correlate, and we've been doing it for a while, showing many sources. So again, so we got the very first person here. He's a planter from Scotland. He's dark complexion, all right, with short curled hair. Short curled hair, all right, short curled hair. He's dark complexion, short curled hair, but he's from Scotland. All right, Matthew Neely. He's from Ireland. He's brown complexion. Now, does brown complexion also mean white and pale? All right. Does it? No, right? Not usually. It shouldn't. What color are you? Look at the mirror. Likely, well said, with fine black curled hair. Again, curled hair. Black curled hair. So we got an Irishman who's not white. He's brown. He don't got red hair, right? He got black curled hair. John Salmon. He's from Virginia. He got a dark complexion and brown skin. John Keaton, Virginia, dark complexion. Likely has been lately hurting his left arm. Thomas Combs. He's from Maryland. He's fair complexion. All right, so now I guess we got to assume fair meant white, right? But at one point, fair meant beautiful, right? You guys know that, right? Fair meant beautiful as well. So does it always mean white? But we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I guess this might be a real actual white person, right? Or descendant of a white European. We don't know because it says Virginia. This could be a light-skinned so-called Negro. This could be an Indian light-skinned. This could be a lot of things. The whole point of this is to not generalize, is to not guess, not assume, is to look into it. If you believe Thomas Combs is something, you look into it, right? Matthew Fling. He's from Ireland, black complexion, an Irishman, black complexion, right? Large beard, scar on his face. Francis Farmer, England, brown complexion, fresh looking, well said. John Morgan, he's from Virginia. He's brown low. Oh, he's brown low. Oh, brown, and he's low. Benjamin Stark, he's from Virginia, brown complexion. George Seaton, he's from Virginia, brown complexion, brown skin, thin visage, small legs. Joseph Williams, Virginia, he's fair, it says, with red hair. Okay, very red hair. So here we go. A fair guy with red hair, but he's from Amelia County. If you guys know the history of Amelia County, that was all Saponis there. Saponi Indians, the Saponi cabins. Look it up. Thomas Snipes, Virginia, brown complexion, brown skin. William Strain, he's from Ireland. He's dark complexion and Irish. What? So-called black Irish. Well said, scar on the forehead, bow-legged. He's bow-legged, all right? James Williams, Virginia, fair complexion. John Oregon, from Virginia, fair complexion. Christopher Scully, he's from Ireland with black complexion. Black complexion. All right? So are we supposed to say, well, Kurimel, black means white back then? All right, well, 1828's dictionary hasn't been written yet. This is from the 1700s. Edward Manning, Ireland, brown complexion, fresh looking, speaks much like a brog. Brog. What is brog again? I knew what it meant. I can't remember right now. Says John Coyne. He's from Ireland. He's redheaded. Okay, so we got an actual red-headed Irish. All right, it's not telling us his complexion though. So I want you to know, guys, that redhead didn't always automatically mean a white person. The original people were redhead were people of color. All right. Joseph Price, Virginia, brown complexion. William Bedient, he's from England, dark complexion. An Englishman with a dark complexion. Edward Gill, he's from Ireland, he's fair complexion. John Juggins, he's from England, brown complexion, brown skin. All right. Joseph Hancock, he's from Virginia with brown complexion. William Harris, from Virginia, fair, fresh complexion. Andrew Kennis, Scotland, he's brown complexion. David McGinnett, he's from Ireland with black complexion. Again, a so-called black Irish. Thick and well set, straight black hair and down look. John Gale, from England, black complexion. Samuel Thomas, bricklayer, from England, dark complexion. Well set with a large black beard and short curled hair. Short curled hair. He's black, he's dark complexion with short curled hair, and he's from England. John Adams, he's from England, brown complexion, brown skin, large black mole over his left eye. John Jones, he's from England. I believe it says brown complexion there. I cut it off a little bit. Brown skin at the end, as you can see in the bottom. All right. We got John. Okay, so we got John Jones. We already got that. Brown skin. William Dodson. He is brown complexion. All right. Joseph Dillard. He's from Virginia. Brown complexion. Joseph Perry. He's from Virginia. Brown complexion. All right. I know I'm going over. Sound like a record. It might get boring. Don't fall asleep, guys. Got some more stuff coming. All right. So the reason I'm doing this is because, and I already got the comments from yesterday telling me that I named out their relatives. I named out people's relatives. They saw them. All right. So in case you might have heard of this name in your genealogy, in your family history, during this time in Virginia, most likely this is your ancestor. All right. Just look into it. That's why I'm doing this, so you guys can have this reference. All right. Where was I? Perry, right? Samuel Carson, brown complexion, well looking, fresh color. All right. And then we got John Clatterburg from Virginia, brown complexion. Andrew Ross, Virginia, brown complexion. William King. Hold on. Okay, William King. He's from Virginia, fairly likely, well said, thin visage. Gabriel Neville. He's from Virginia. Don't give us a complexion. Thomas Latin. Ireland, brown complexion. Sturdy, low man, very brisk, talks much on the brogue. Henry Orme, England, squat, well set man, round face, bow-legged. John Greenaway, Virginia, fair complexion. John Sylvie, from England, fair complexion, slim and spare, thin face. Peter Mingus, fair. He's likely a man with smooth face, very black eyes. John Carroll, all right. He's Irish. He's dark complexion. Again, a so-called black Irish, dark complexion, bold-looking man, large black beard. Peter Banner, he's from England. He's brown complexion. All right, next page. We got James Somerville from Scotland. Thick, well-set, sandy. Nathaniel Barrett, a planter from Virginia, freckled, sandy hair. Robert Seaman, England, brown complexion, good countenance. James Fitzgerald from Ireland, black complexion. Again, what? So-called black Irish. Likely well-made man, talks much on the brogue. Thomas Monjoy, a planter from Virginia, dark complexion. All right, again, I emphasized this yesterday. Now, if we're talking about so-called Negro people, so-called black, or so-called what they call today African Americans, right? Aren't you described as dark complexion today? All right, so We're talking about people from the 1700s being described as a dark complexion, most likely a so-called Negro. And again, he's a planter. He's not a slave. All right, I want you to notice. I remember that. So even the ones that are from over here, like Virginia, Maryland, all that, they're not even slaves. All right. John Cotland, Virginia, brown complexion, one cheek larger than the other. Whoa. Samuel Burton from Virginia, fresh. John Askins from Virginia, brown complexion. Philemon Askins from Virginia, brown complexion. Thomas Donahoe from Ireland, fair. James Mills from Virginia, fair complexion. John White from Ireland, he's freckled. Speaks much of the Brog. James Power, he's from Virginia with dark complexion. Dark hair, well made. We got here the size roll of Captain Thomas, Wanager's company. 1756, the roll gave the name, height, age, complexion, country, trade, by whom enlisted, and description. Francis Austin. All right, so he's short, black hair, full face, right leg larger than his left. Mark Hollis, he's dark complexion. He's from England. All right, and he got brown curling hair. Lost 2 fingers from his left hand. Samuel Poe, he's from England. He's dark complexion from England. All right, John Creech, he's brown complexion from Ireland. George Selman, he's ruddy from Scotland. John Cole, he's ruddy from Scotland with brown curling hair. John Franklin, he's brown complexion from New England. All right. Reuben Bentel, Virginia. Planter, it says Captain John Savage, dark short hair. Oh, he was with Captain John Savage. It says Moses Drummond, Virginia. Well made, thin visage, short brown hair. Daniel Wright, he's a planter from Virginia. He's dark complexion. And then we got James Miles. He's brown complexion. He's from Ireland. All right. Thomas Williams, dark complexion. He's from Wales. Dark complexion from Wales, a dark Welsh. We get a lot of references of that when you start doing the studies. You'll see a lot of dark Welsh runaway ads, just like the Irish. And then we got Robert Stewart. He's black complexion, the Stewart. Now, again, what did we learn earlier about Stuart? Because Stewart is Stewart with S-T-U-A-R-T, Stuart, German for black. Stewart meant black, so-called black. Stewart, black. Scotland, Scottish, right? Doesn't it fit where the Stuarts came out of? The Scottish Highlands, right? King James, he was a Stuart. Robert Stewart, black, so-called black, Scottish. All right. John Mercer, dark skin. Oh, I didn't even know there was more people. I was skipping over some people, huh? Well, you guys get to see this. You got the screenshot now. So John Mercer's dark skin, brown hair, slow spoken. We got Joseph Broadway. So, man, he is brown complexion from Maryland. We got Captain Robert Stewart. He's dark skinned. Again, Stewart, dark skin. Thomas Hitchcock. All right, so I think this Robert Stewart might have been the last guy who was being called black. So again, there you go. Black doesn't mean white, because this might be the same guy and he's dark skinned here. Thomas Hitchcock, dark complexion. He's from England. Thomas Wagner, full flat nose, well made, short brown. John Haley, he's dark complexion from Virginia. Remarkable thick legs. Full face, black straight hair. Man, he must have liked his legs when he was taking notes. He got some remarkable thick legs. Joseph Niblet, he's brown complexion from England. Captain Thomas Wagner. Okay, Thomas Wagner. Okay, we're describing. Short brown curling hair. Jeremiah Taylor, he's brown complexion from Virginia. Robert Elliott, brown complexion from Ireland. Edward Russell, he's ruddy complexion from Ireland. Alexander Bono, he's dark complexion from Ireland, dark complexion. Edward Painter, dark complexion from England. Edward Harmon, ruddy from England. John Connor, oh, we got a John Connor again. All right, Terminator. Brown complexion, Ireland. With brown curling hair. All right. Alexander Turnbull. He's from Ireland, planner. William McNulty. He's brown complexion from Ireland. John Atwood. He's ruddy from England. All right. And we got William McInulty. Wow. Brown complexion from Ireland. All right. You guys might recognize a lot of these surnames. John Atwood. He's ruddy from England. Thomas Kin, ruddy from England. Short brown hair, long nose. Jesse May, he's ruddy from England. We got Hugh Paul, dark complexion from Scotland. Dark curling hair. Dark curling hair with dark complexion from Scotland. Christopher Huffman. And then we got, he's fair complexion from Pennsylvania. We got William House, brown complexion from Virginia. All right. William Price, brown complexion from Virginia. We got William Rogers, he's fair complexion from England. We got John Christie, dark complexion from Virginia. Moses Jacobs, he's fair complexion from Virginia. Henry Austin, brown complexion from Virginia. James Moore, he's brown complexion from England. Thomas Newborn, he's fair complexion from England. Lawrence Rigby, he's fair complexion from New York. John Rhee, fair complexion from Virginia. We got Isaac Anderson, he's ruddy complexion from Jersey. George Felton, brown complexion from England. We got John Dunn, the Duns. All right, the Duns, I know for a fact the Duns, these Irish Duns were people of color, so-called Black Irish. Trust me. Brown complexion, Ireland. John King. By the way, I said it yesterday, Dun, if you're from Jamaica, Dunn's River Falls is owned by the Irish Duns originally. And, you know, my wife has that in her ancestry. That's her family right there. We were able to trace it back and we found them. You know, we went all the way and they were the owners. And it matched the story she had, her family story. Her family story was that they lost it because the guy was a drunk and he did some bad business. Right, the Dunn, unfortunately. And then when I went and found the story, that's exactly what it said. So I know, and that was her answer. She told me, my family, the history of my family is that we owned Dunn's River Falls, and we bad business deal. He was a drunk and we lost it. And then I found that exact info. All right. John King, brown complexion from Virginia. William Bosman, dark complexion from Virginia. James Wilmore, he's brown complexion from Virginia. It says drafted from King and Queen, straight dark hair. All right. And then again, this book, I explained it yesterday. It has different types of roles. Some of the roles is just the names. So even if it's just the names, that might help you. So if you like to get this book, if you know your family was in Virginia in the 1700s, this might be a good book for you, or just for having it as reference. And you have all the names here. It has an index in the back. So if you're looking for somebody specific, you can go to the index in the back and it'll tell you the page it's on. All right. Yeah. And the author is not paying me to promote his book. Size roll of the 7th Company Virginia Regiment, commanded by Captain Joshua Lewis. The roll gave the name, enlisting officer, the date, the age, the height, the trade, the country, the place of enlistment, and description. All right, we start with Henry Williams. He's a planner from Ireland, Fredericktown. He's what? Swarty complexion. Can I get a so swarty? Hashtag so swarty. Where's Kiowa at? Kiowa's MIA these days, but we know he's busy working. James Thomas, sail maker, Scotland. Alexander, he's pale complexion. There you go. All right, very specific. A Scottish with pale complexion. And then we got an Irish with what? Swarty complexion right over him. You see the distinguishment, right? All right, I mean, what are you gonna say here to me? Oh, Cootie Mill, maybe they're not talking about exactly Negro like me. You know, hey. The evidence, the information, the history, the genealogy, the primary sources, everything is telling us these are people of color. All right, George Clark, he's a shoemaker from England. He's red complexion. Dougald Campbell, he's from Scotland. John Grant, a planter from Ireland with the smallpox, brown hair. James Donaldson, Scotland, Stafford, dark complexion. Thomas Edwards, he's brown complexion. He lost one eye. Daniel Gowen, Virginia, fair complexion. Thomas Hudson, he's from England, Lancaster, brown complexion with blue eyes. Interesting, right? Brown complexion with blue eyes. Okay, it says Charles Johnson, Lloyd, planter from Virginia, red complexion, dark hair. Henry Moxham, he's from England, dark complexion. James Marsh, England, Stafford, swarthy, so swarthy. James Marsh is so swarthy. He's from England. He's an English, black English man. All right, so-called black, swarthy. We got the definition earlier, right? Just in case. If you missed it, it's all over the dictionaries. Google it right now. Google swarthy right now, see what you get. Martin May, Ireland. Amelia, pale complexion with dark brown hair. Matthew Roboton. Okay, hold up a second. Matthew Roboton. He's from Charles City, Virginia. He's blue eyes, scarlet head. William Lodren. He's from England. Dark complexion from England. Alexander Stewart, a planter from Scotland, fair complexion and blue eyes. Daniel Sullivan, seaman from Ireland, Port Royal. Port Royal. Are we talking about Jamaica? Port Royal, Jamaica? What are we talking about here? Irish, a swarthy, Irish, so swarthy. Irish, so swarthy. John Wade. Oh, actually, sorry, I missed somebody. Thomas Simpson. He's from Virginia with a swarthy complexion. All right, now. So we got a so-called Negro here because it doesn't tell us what country he's from. Saying he was born in Virginia. We don't know if his parents were Europeans. We don't know if his parents were Indians. We don't know if his parents were from Mexico, Cuba, Puerto Rico that was brought up. We don't know if his parents were from New England, a Pequot that was brought down. We don't know, but we know he's a so-called Negro. He has swarthy complexion, and he's in Virginia in the 1700s, and he's not a slave. All right, he's a carpenter. A carpenter. He's not a slave. Swarthy complexion, 1756. It doesn't even say he's a free person of color because they don't need to say that, right? Not in this time. They don't need to specify that because they ain't trying to hide anything. They're just trying to give a description of these people so they don't re-enlist the same person twice or give us two different pensions. I mean, give two pensions to the same person, you know. All right, so John Wade, he's a seaman from England. He's ruddy complexion, brown hair, Morris Subtle. Seaman from Ireland, ruddy complexion. William White, a planter from Scotland, pale complexion. John Williams, he's from Wales. He's swarthy, so swarthy. John Williams, the Williams family, swarthy from Wales, a black Welsh, and he pitted with smallpox. Didn't the Indians get smallpox? So they did. Did they bring the smallpox, or is he half Indian too? That's why we gotta dig. Robert Walters, red complexion. William Austin, England, pale complexion. John Bassett, Scotland. Doesn't say the complexion, says he has black hair though. Samuel Busher from Virginia. Amelia, there you go, swarthy complexion. Amelia County, that was Saponi land, the Saponi cabins. This guy might be a Saponi Indian. All right? He might most likely is a Saponi Indian. All right? Much love and respect to the brothers, the Saponi Catawba clan. All right, you know who you guys are. Much love and respect to you guys. John Carwick from Ireland, dark complexion. Thomas Hall from England, ruddy complexion. Christopher Fry, he's a farmer from Holland. All right, Holland, swarthy complexion with smallpox. All right, Holland, he's Dutch, right? Black Dutch. Holland, who was in Holland? What was Amsterdam? Amsterdam was the New Jerusalem, where the Sephardic people of color Jews from Iberia, Spain, and Portugal, when they got kicked out and expelled, they ended up in Holland, all right, Brazil, and all these places. And then eventually they gathered up in Holland, wherever they were coming from again, and they made that their haven, their New Jerusalem. That's where all these Sephardic Jews were going, you know. And again, we have one right here, most likely. He's a Dutch, he's a so called Swarty, so called Black Dutch. All right, Christopher Fry. We got Der Covey, Seaman, England. He's swarty complexion from England. Swarty complexion. Oh, so swarty. That's right, Stanley. So swarty. What is the majority of these people? So swarty, right? We see a lot less fair, right? We see a lot more brown and dark, black, swarty complexions, right? Are you guys starting to see? Are you guys really starting to see with your third eye? All right. James Jenkins, England, dark complexion. Joseph Bridge, dark complexion from Virginia. Thomas Bailey from England, dark complexion. Thomas Delaney from Virginia, dark complexion. John McFarland, he's fair complexion. We got Thomas Delaney from Virginia, dark complexion. John McFarland from Virginia, fair complexion. Thomas Farrell from England, fair complexion. Charles Wynn, black complexion from Virginia, so-called black, right? He's a laborer. Joshua Lamb, he's a barber from England, fair complexion. James Venable from Virginia, fair complexion. John Holloway from Virginia, dark complexion. Jesse Bryant, fair complexion. David Davis, Virginia, brown complexion. Richard Hall from Virginia, brown complexion. Joshua Purdue from Amelia County, brown complexion. Another possible Saponi. John Benson from Virginia, Accomack from the Accomack County, brown complexion. It says Bro McWilliams, or Brooke, or Bro McWilliams. He's a blacksmith from Virginia. He's fair complexion. James Cooper from Virginia, brown complexion. We got Isham Kirkland. He's from Virginia, and he's brown complexion. Adam Rutherford. He's from Virginia, fair complexion. James Atkinson, all right, from Virginia, fair complexion, all right. Make sure you hit the like as you come in. Make sure you share this. Help me share this. Help me make this mainstream. Share to everybody. Tell them to prove you wrong. Tell them to disprove the info. See what they got. Show the Pan-Africans this stuff. Tell them to disprove the info. You know, William Jesse, a planter from Virginia, fair complexion. John Clark from the Isle of Wight, fair complexion. Abraham Moon, Virginia, a Negro. All right. So I know yesterday I read one of those two, and I'm like, well, no, see, they're not all black because they named one Negro. Remember, we're not talking always about complexion here. A lot of the time, a Negro could be status. He could just be a straight up somebody who's been raised to be like, or be treated as a slave, and he's just being labeled a Negro, right? Because what is Swarty? What is Swarty? We read the definition earlier of Swarty. What did it say? Black like an African, right? What did Benjamin Franklin say? That all these Germans, all these people were swarthy. Why was he distinguishing them, saying that, well, the only fair or white people is his people and Anglo-Saxons, and everybody else was swarthy, holy soul, tawny and swarthy, meaning dark skin, people that you would call it so-called Negro. So what are you talking about here? All right, Michael Hinchy, Virginia, fair complexion. Thomas Pate, Virginia, Winchester. Abraham Haslope, Southampton, fair complexion. James Littrop, fair complexion. He's from Virginia. William Lamb, he's from Prince George County, fair complexion. William Croswell from Northumberland, brown, or fair complexion. We got Anthony Godfrey from England, brown complexion. James Mitchell from England, fair complexion. John Leakey from Maryland, brown complexion. Abraham Wimbrow from Virginia, fair complexion. James Butler, no description. Richmond Ashwell, brown complexion. Stephen Blankenship, he's from Chesterfield, Virginia, dark complexion. Benjamin Wilson from Virginia, dark complexion. Daniel Porter from Virginia, fair complexion. James Holloway from Virginia, oops, yeah, he's dark complexion. James Holloway. Richard Baldock from Virginia, fair complexion. Philip Reed from Virginia, fair complexion. Thomas Hope, he's from England, fair complexion. We got Christopher Best, Virginia, fair complexion. Anthony Stilts, a carpenter from Germany, fair complexion. Edward Gill from Virginia, brown complexion. John Johnson from England, England and Maryland, brown complexion, black hair. Thomas Townsend from Virginia, Nansemond County, brown complexion. Ephraim Pope, I think I've seen this name. Doing somebody's genealogy. He's from Virginia, Nansemond, brown complexion. I think this is one of the persons I've done. If you're out there listening, I think this is your ancestor right here that we went over. Henry Carrier from England. He's what? Swarthy. He's so swarthy from England. Joshua Wells from England, brown complexion with black hair. Thomas Carrier from England, blinked eyes, light hair. William Wire, he's from England, fair complexion. Andrew Roth from Germany, brown complexion, a German with brown complexion. Garrett Ranger from Holland, swarthy complexion. All right, we got another so-called Black Dutch, swarthy, possible, most likely Sephardic Jew. All right, person of color, a Moor who came out of Iberia, Spain, and Portugal. They were persecuted, expelled, and ended up in Holland. A lot of these people. All right, and then they came into this country as a Dutch or somebody from Holland, but they were crypto Jews. John Francis, Maryland, Frederick, brown complexion. All right, list of men. All right, hold up. List of men brought by John Wyatt from Gloucester. This is July and August 1757. The list gave the age, the name, the age, nativity, the complexion, the trade, and the height. Christopher Smith, 21. He's sandy complexion. He's a planner from Virginia. William Routry. He's from Virginia, brown complexion. Richard Gills from Virginia, brown complexion. John Meggs from Virginia, brown complexion. George Pickens from Virginia, brown complexion. William Barefoot from Virginia, brown complexion. William Simon from Virginia, also brown complexion. Stripple Hill Howard from Virginia, brown complexion. John Greenaway from Virginia, brown complexion. John Huggett, sounds like Huggenut, Virginia, brown complexion. Richard Morgan from Virginia, brown complexion. Joshua Bridge from Virginia, brown complexion. William Bluxkull from England, also brown complexion. William Barnett, Virginia, brown complexion. John Buchanan, Virginia, brown complexion. Thomas Newburn from he's English, he's brown complexion as well. All right, so I hope you guys saw almost all these people were people of color. So was this one of those color troops? You're talking about brown, that's a crayon color, that's not pale. Brown is not pale, brown is not white. Anybody brown would be called colored, right? Is this a colored troop? Nope, this is just a regular troop, because they ain't distinguishing between blacks and white. Yeah, like that. James City militia recruits, it says down here. And it starts with Isaac Rains. He's from England and he's dark complexion. All right. We got John Jones up here from England, also dark complexion. List of soldiers enlisted in King and Queen County. List gave name, age, country, trade, height, and description. John Evans, a Virginia planter, fair complexion. John Cole, another Virginia planter. He's black, so-called black complexion. Richard Baldock from Virginia, fair complexion. Achilles Collins from Virginia, fair complexion. James Wilmore from Virginia, brown complexion. Thomas Gregory, a planter from Virginia, fair complexion. William Barton, Virginia, fair complexion. Francis Saunders from Virginia, dark complexion. John Kellyham from Virginia, dark complexion. Lancaster County recruits. All right, the Lancaster County recruits. It says James Moore from England, brown complexion. George Mitchell from Virginia, brown complexion. Miller Doggett from Virginia, brown complexion. William Laurie from Virginia, brown complexion. James Richard from Virginia, brown complexion. John Waller from England, brown complexion. Richard Johnston from Virginia, black complexion. So all these people were people of color, right? All right. You gotta have color. If you're brown, you that means you have color if you're brown. People of color, right? All right. Now I just want to real quick, just to get reference again. All right. So Colonial Soldiers of Virginia, right? We're reading all these descriptions. Now look at these four guys right here. I guess the person, the third person right there, almost in the middle, he could be considered fair, right? Next to them, right? And they could be considered brown, right? That's, to me, that's brown skin right there. I see brown complexion. Yes or no? Brown complexion, yes, no? And even the light skinned guy, he don't look so-called white. He might look more like a Hispanic, right? He look, he's possible Indian too. He looked like he could be a mulatto mix. So just picture these four guys back in 1700s. That's what that's what we're reading right now. That's what we're reading right now. All right? Dodge the hijacks. Dodge your own hijack. I know a lot of you still like, no, man, I'm Indian. I'm just Indian, man. Or, well, we're all over the earth. We're the ancient ones. It doesn't matter. Well, okay, in that case, then yes, that's a better outlook, right? But I hope you're not just saying that just because you don't want to admit, you don't, okay, you just want to leave out the European part. You just want to say, well, we were all over the world. Well, we got to start getting specific here. We got to start getting specific here. If you do want to really know thyself, your genealogy, you can't generalize or base it off everybody else's genealogy, right? All right. So let's go back. What we got, list of Major Robinson. All right. Soldiers mustered at Frederick, drafted from Middlesex. It says the list gives the description, the country, the trade, the height, and the age. Samuel Walden, fair complexion. William, he's from Virginia. William Dare, dark complexion, from Virginia. James Dorsley, fair complexion, from Virginia. Oliver Wallace, brown complexion, from Virginia. Edward Walden, fair complexion, from Virginia. Edward Breedsell, fair complexion, from England. He's the jack of all trades. He does everything. He's the master of none, though. No, so I'm not going to diss him like that. I don't know. Maybe he did master them. Size roll of the men from Northumberland. All right, says Robert Nash, 31, from Virginia, brown complexion. Amos Bentley, from Virginia, brown complexion. William Singer, from Virginia, brown complexion. List of Williamsburg recruits by Major Prentice. John Gill, freckled complexion. A freckled complexion, from England. David Dalton, pale complexion, from Virginia. Thomas Spurlock, ruddy complexion. So we just got freckled complexion, pale complexion, ruddy complexion, and dark complexion in one, I guess, troop or regiment, or right here, whatever, these recruits. They all kind of colored or some way or different, but they have different complexions, right? It's a mixture here. It's not just a bunch of what Wade showed us when we watch, when we watch like Braveheart, or when we watch The Patriot, the movie The Patriot with Mel Gibson. I was thinking that one instead of Braveheart. But even Braveheart too, because we already know those the pigs, the original Scottish pigs that Mel Gibson portrayed in the Braveheart movie. I think that's what his name was, the name of the movie. You guys know what I'm talking about, where he had the quilt and all that. He's a Scottish guy with long hair. He had a little braid coming down. They try to give him little braids, but we know what's up. We know what these people really look like, especially the pigs. All right. Much love and respect to everybody in the chat. I'm sorry if I can't read the chat while much love and respect to Shala. Shala was one of the persons who let me know that we read out her ancestor's name yesterday. Her first name, she had never seen it like that. You know, it doesn't appear too much, but she saw it yesterday. Shala, I'm sorry if you're not a female. I assumed you were a female. Sorry, Shala, our friend Shala. It could be a male or female. I'm sorry. Apologize if you are a male, Shala. But you know, respect to you. Thank you for being here and tuning in. Thank you for sharing that with me because it just helps me, you know that I'm in the right track. All right. So we got a list of major Robinson soldiers mustered or further drafted from Middlesex. All right, so we got Samuel Walden, fair complexion. William Dare, dark complexion from Virginia. James Storsley, fair complexion from Virginia. Oliver Wallace, brown complexion from Virginia. Edward Walden, fair complexion from Virginia. Edward Breezel, fair complexion. Size roll of the men from Northumberland. It says Robert Nash, brown complexion. Amos. Oh, did I already read this, guys? I'm sorry if I did. List of Williamsburg recruits from Major Prentice. John Gale. Oh yeah, I did read this. Sorry about that, guys. Right? Freckled, pale, ruddy complexion, fresh and dark complexion. So we got John Gale, England, just in case I didn't. I'm sorry, I got lost. David Dalton from Virginia. He's pale. Thomas Spurlock, ruddy complexion from England. John Adams, fresh and dark complexion from England. Muster roll of Captain Robert Stewart's company from Virginia. The roll gives the name, the age, the height, enlisting officer, the date, the country, the trade, where entertained, county of enlistment, and description. Charles Calliox. He's actually, it says French. He's ruddy complexion, dark brown hair, speaks bad English. Thomas Jones. He's from England. All right. Fairfax. He's swarthy complexion, swarthy from England. Mole on the right cheek, dark bush hair. Okay, that's it. All right, now you. All right, so, you guys tell me, do white people have dark bush hair? What's going on? I don't hear anybody. I hear crickets. Actually, I hear the music, the beat in the background. But yeah, I'm messing with you guys. Who has dark bush hair and a swarthy complexion? You can say whatever you want. I know what I'm seeing and reading with my eyes. I got the logic to make sense of this, and I got the studies and research behind me to know they're talking about people of color. Swarthy complexion with dark bush hair, and he's from England. Francis Moreland, Virginia. Fair complexion, scar on his forehead. William Brunton, Captain Stewart. All right, that's all we get. Oops. All right, let me zoom in. Virginia. All right, so he was fair complexion, says James Buchanan. He's from Scotland, fair complexion. Samson Franklin. He's from Virginia, fair complexion. Benjamin Cotton from North England, or New England, maybe. Nassau County, he's living, fair complexion. John Craig. He's from Ireland. He's fair complexion. Robert Tunsil. He's from England. He's a ruddy complexion. Robert Cornelius. He's from Virginia. Dark complexion, dark hair, dark eyes. John Huff. He's from Maryland. Swarthy, so swarthy complexion. Timothy Sullivan. He's from Ireland. He's swarthy complexion. These Irish are very dark, right? In general, since yesterday, so far, I would say it's about at least, well, I'm gonna say 85, but I was gonna say 90. At least 90% of them have been people of color. These Irish, and the Scottish, and English. Swarthy complexion, pock-pitted, long, bushy hair. Long, bushy hair. Bushy hair. An Irish who's swarthy with bushy hair. An Irish who's swarthy with bushy hair. All right. Hey, are you guys seeing the screen? I'm sorry. Oh, man. Are you guys not seeing the screen? You guys didn't tell me. Come on, guys. You gotta tell me. You gotta tell me. I'm sorry about that. All right. I want you guys to be able to see this. I don't want to just be over here showing things and you guys don't see it, because I want you guys to see it. I don't want you to think I'm just making up things over here. All right. Again, we're down here. All right. So it says Timothy Sullivan. He's from Ireland. Swarthy complexion, right? Long bushy hair. So you guys can see long bushy hair. All right. You see that, right? Long bushy hair, swarthy complexion, and he's from Ireland. John Brown, England, swarthy complexion, long black hair, swarthy complexion. John Keaton, from Ireland. He's fair pot picket, much long brown hair. All right. Oh, you guys told us you told me telepathically. Yes. No, I have the YouTube window open, and I just realized I'm looking at the picture of the soldiers this whole time. Sorry about that. And then we got over here. Whoops. We got Thomas Thompson, Scotland, swarthy complexion. Scottish with swarthy complexion, right? Full face, large nose, long black hair. John Felton from England, fair complexion. Thomas Shepard from England, he's brown complexion. Samuel Baxter from England, he's fair and ruddy, little marked with smallpox. George Clancy, Maryland, swarthy and thin visage, long brown hair. John Lorbuck. It says he's from Germany, and he's swarthy. There we go. All right, confirming what Benjamin Franklin was saying. All right. What was Benjamin Franklin saying earlier? We read it. He said that the Germans were all swarthy. And he even said before that, we didn't read it in this video, but we've read that before in the same book right there. We read it earlier, that we don't want to Germanize America. Why was he saying Germanize? Because they were all swarthy people. He said, we need more of me or white people. All right, let's not Germanize America with these swarthy Germans. Fredley McCoy from Scotland, fair complexion. John Eleanor from Germany, ruddy complexion. Patrick Galloway from Ireland, he's a ruddy complexion, dark hair. William Coughlin from Ireland, ruddy complexion, dark brown hair. John Harwood from England, swarthy, so swarthy complexion. We're down here. All right, dark curly hair. All right, an Englishman who's swarthy with dark curly hair. Richard Bolton from England, swarthy complexion with dark hair, a lump on the right side of his chin, swarthy, so swarthy. All right. Says John Doolan from Ireland, fair complexion. Francis Allen from England, swarthy complexion, black eyebrows, black hair. Well, wouldn't most people have black eyebrows? Well, he's not a blonde, right? So he must have had some big eyebrows. That's why he was making note of it. Well, he got black eyebrows. They were probably really big. Thomas Phipps from England, he's fair complexion. Peter Quinn from Ireland, ruddy complexion. William Horn from Ireland, ruddy complexion, brown curly hair. Alexander Bono from Ireland, pale. There you go, pale complexion, pale. We got a pale man. We got the pale man right here. All right, who's the minority? Now that you guys, all right, after 2 days, after all the videos, after all the research, who's really the minority? Who's really the minority? Simon Barrett, swarthy complexion from Virginia. John Clemens from Virginia, fair complexion. John Fraser from Scotland, swarthy complexion, so swarthy. John Haynes from Virginia, fair complexion. John Buffkin from Virginia, swarthy complexion, swarthy, so-called black man, so-called Negro, swarthy complexion. He's a laborer. He's not a slave. 1755. Peter Simmons, or Simons, England. He's fair complexion. John Fegwit, all right. He's from Virginia. John Fegwit, fair complexion. James Chick, He's ruddy complexion. He's from Virginia. John Trudback from Ireland. He's swarty complexion. Mole on the left cheek, black hair. Jeremiah Hoey, Ireland. He's fair complexion. John Gee, Prince George, fair complexion. John Paynes from England. He's pale complexion. John Lauter from England, fair complexion. John Alderton. He's from Virginia with swarty complexion. He has a scar on his nose. George White, Virginia. He's fair complexion with dark hair. Alexander Fraser from Scotland. He's so swarty complexion. Scotland, pitted with the smallpox. He squints both eyes. John Bolton. He's from England, fair complexion. John McNoll. He's from Virginia, fair complexion. Charles Rode. He's from Ireland. He's fair complexion. John Daly. And let's see what he is. John Daly is ruddy complexion. Baker Perkins from Virginia. Let me just zoom in. And he's ruddy. We got Henson McDougal from Virginia. Ruddy complexion from Amelia County. Possible Saponi. Alexander Johnston from Virginia. Ruddy complexion. George Andrew from Scotland. Fair complexion. John Garrett from Virginia. Black hair with ruddy complexion. He's also in Amelia County. Matthew Hopkins from Virginia. Ruddy complexion. Charles Carneys from Germany. He's brown complexion. Brown, German. A brown complexion German with black hair. So where's this blue-eyed, blonde, tall, pale Germans? Edmund Freeman. He's a Freeman. He's from Virginia. Nansemond, he's brown complexion. Now you tell me, all right? He's 6 feet tall. He's 24, 6 feet tall. He's from Virginia. His last name is Freeman, and he's brown complexion from Nansemond County, Virginia. What do you guys think? Abraham Ellis from Virginia, 5'9", and he's brown complexion, Nansemond County as well, scar on his upper lip. Isham Holland from Virginia, fair complexion. John Hody from Virginia, ruddy complexion. William Lewis from Virginia, brown complexion. We got, okay, let me zoom in. Nathaniel Walker. Okay, I think I missed somebody. Okay, we got sorry. All right, we got John Hardy already. William Lewis, Virginia, brown complexion. Nathaniel Walker from Virginia, ruddy complexion. William Goddard from Virginia, ruddy complexion. Got May Ransom from Virginia, pale complexion. Daniel McNeil from Virginia, swarty, so swarty, small nose, pitted with smallpox. Possible Indian? Who knows? We'll see. We got to dig on it. Daniel McNeil, is that your family? Robert Dunlap, 6'2", 5'9", the other guy, and this guy is 6'2", Virginia. He's swarty, okay? So we got a swarty complexion person who's 6'2". All right, he's from Virginia. Eleanor Reynolds from Virginia, a planter, fair complexion. John Warren from England, ruddy complexion. William Mason from England, fair complexion. William Thompson from Virginia, fair complexion. Thomas Dixon from, he's from, let me see, Winchester, Northampton, brown complexion. Jeremiah Edwards from England, he's fair complexion. Ezekiel Venter from Virginia, fair complexion. David Davis from Virginia, swarty complexion, large eyebrows, brown shoulders, dark hair. Joshua King from Virginia, brown complexion, dark eyebrows, dark brown eyes. Francis Arnold from Virginia, he's ruddy complexion. We got Henry Long from Scotland, ruddy complexion. George Curtis from Virginia, pale complexion, large nose, dark hair. William Payton from Virginia, We got ruddy complexion, Thomas Peroni from Virginia, fair complexion. Joseph Hughes from Virginia, fair complexion. Joshua Jones from Virginia, swarthy complexion, so swarthy. Patrick Murphy from Ireland, he's ruddy complexioned. Thomas Adams, he's a drummer from England, ruddy complexion. John Petty, another drummer from England, he's fair complexion. And down here, okay, we got that. Now we got over here, size roll of Colonel George Washington, 28th of August, 1757. Roll gave the name, the place, and enlistment, age, height, trade, country, and description. John Sallard, he's from Virginia. All right, we got much from him. Reuben Vass from Virginia, dark complexion. James Littlepage, he's from Virginia. He's fair and freckled. Charles Stringham, New York, ruddy complexion. James Campbell from Scotland, ruddy complexion, dark hair. Jeremiah Puckett from Virginia, fair complexion. Samuel Longworth from New Jersey, dark complexion. Simon Robinson, bricklayer from England, fair complexion. John Pope, from Virginia, he's dark complexion. John Trigg from Virginia, brown complexion. We got Thomas Brown, he's from Ireland, he's dark complexion, so-called black, dark complexion, Irish. Joshua Briggs from Pennsylvania, dark complexion. Arthur Dent from England, brown complexion. George Hill from Ireland, brown complexion. Abraham Mason from Virginia, brown hair and complexion, so he's brown complexion. Lachlan MacLean from Scotland, brown complexion and hair. John Nugent from Ireland, he is brown complexioned. Francis Roberts from Virginia, very likely fellow, brown complexion and hair. William Bagent from England, dark complexion. From England, dark complexion. Edward Whitehead from Ireland, brown complexion. William Stewart Pushett, he's from Virginia, he's brown complexioned. We got John Silvey, he's a planter from England, ruddy complexion. John Adams, a bricklayer from England, he's brown complexioned, well made. Darby, he's a Virginia, he's a fair complexion. Thomas West is from England and he's very dark complexion, very dark. All right, emphasis. Thomas West, he's from England, very dark complexion, very dark complexion, very dark complexion from England. Let that sink in. Joseph Morris from Virginia, dark complexion. John Organ from Virginia, fair complexion. John Askins from Virginia, dark complexion. Thomas Snipes from Virginia, dark complexion. Christopher Scully, dark complexion. He's from Virginia as well. And we got Something Sparks, he's from England, ruddy face. Joseph Handcock from Virginia, he's fair complexion. John Robinson from Virginia, fair, sandy hair, not well made. John Fisher, he's from Germany. He's a German with what? Dark complexion. A German with dark complexion. All right. Aaron Hughes from Virginia, pale complexion. John Juggins, he's a planter from England, brown complexioned. James Fitzpatrick, he's from Ireland. He's brown complexion. All right. Irish, brown complexion. Fitzpatrick. Francis Farmer from England, ruddy face. Peter Mingus, a Scottish, pale complexion. All right. James Williams, he's from Virginia. He's ruddy complexion. Archibald Lockhart, a carpenter from Scotland, brown complexion. Edward Sutton, a tailor from England, red face. That says David McGinnett, it says from Ireland, brown complexion. Thomas Jackson from England, brown, much pitted with smallpox. John Maine, he's from England, red faced, dark brown hair. David Evans from England, brown complexion, brown hair, very well made. William Strain, Irish man with red face. John Gale from England, brown complexion. John Greenaway, a planter from Virginia, dark complexion, flaxen hair. William Stevens from England, he's fair complexion. Jeremiah Wilson, he's from England, ruddy, broad face, dark hair. John Coughlin, he's from Virginia, ruddy complexion. John McMillan, a planter from Maryland, brown complexion. Solomon Long, a planter from Holland, red complexion. We got Richard Singster, a sailor from England, red complexion. John Bridges, a farmer from England, dark complexion, dark hair, gray eyes. Joseph Smart, a planter from England, red face, sandy hair. John Highland from England, dark complexion. Philip Askins from Virginia, brown complexion. Charles Knight from England, dark complexion. William Baylist from England, brown complexion. John Burns from Ireland, brown complexion. John Carroll from Ireland, brown complexion. Brown complexion. Carroll, an Irish surname. Carroll. This is the surname of my wife. She's from Jamaica. All right. That's an Irish last name. All right. You guys got a lot. Hey, I got some major revealing info coming, videos about the West Indies, because it wasn't Africans they were bringing over there, and we know it wasn't a bunch of pale-skinned people in Jamaica. So who are these Jamaicans really? Who are a lot of these Jamaicans? What is the Gaelic related to? What is the Armorican language? What is the Armorican language? You know, that's what they call the old Gaelic, the old Celtic, the old Gaelic Celtic language was called Armorican. Armorican. It almost sounds like American. Armorican. All right. So what is Patois or Patois? What is that really? Are they really speaking the Gaelic, the old Gaelic Armorican language? Think about that. Study that. That's a future video. All right. John Connor stepping in area. Remember, he's a time traveler. He's from the Terminator. You know, so he's Irish and he's brown complexioned. He's William Garam from England, dark complexion. Ugly, ill-made fellow. Oh man, why did you have to diss him like that, man? Why you had to put ugly, ill-made fellow? Why was that necessary? You think that, oh, they'll remember that. George Lewis from Wales, he's brown complexion. Patrick McLean, he's from Ireland. He's red-faced. William McGaw, a planter from Ireland, dark complexion, brown and straight hair. We got Benjamin Smith. Benjamin Smith is from England, red complexion. William White from Virginia, pale complexion. John Hamilton, a planter from Ireland, pale complexion. Henry Wilshire, Ireland, brown complexion. Lawrence White, he's from Ireland, dark complexion. Irish with dark complexion. Are you guys seeing the trend? Are you guys seeing the pattern here? William McIntyre, Scotland, dark complexion from Scotland and a dark complexion from Ireland person. So, all right, these two people are Europeans and they're both so-called Negro, dark-skinned people. John Kinn, England, dark complexion. So a Scottish, an Irish, and an English, dark complexion. They're in the same troop, all right? 200 years passed and all of a sudden they were freed slaves who were allowed to fight in the war. African freed slaves, right? That's what they told us in the movie Glory with Denzel Washington. You think those were all so-called slaves, African slaves they had in that movie? John King from England, dark complexion, dark brown hair, pitted with the smallpox. Joseph Curtis from Ireland, fresh complexion. William Withers from England, dark complexion, dark eyebrows with gray eyes. James Fitzgerald, he's a weaver from Ireland, dark complexion, black hair. Edward Gill, Hey, Stephen Torres, that's a good question. Did John Connor know the Prester? Who was Prester John? Did a black man discover the fountain of youth? That's the question for you in the chat right now. And if you don't got the drop, check out 432 The Drop Radio. Much love and respect to Drop Nation. Bringing the drop, always that fire. Who is Prester John? You guys got to get on that investigation. It's over almost like 70 parts already. You guys got to catch up. All right, we got William Withers. We got him. We got Edward Gill. He's from Ireland, fair complexion. Thomas Monjoy. He is from Mercer's Common, and also known John Plackett from Ireland, dark complexion. And then we got 2 more slides here, and then we're going to show some videos, guys. I know, this gets maybe boring and sleepy, it's late, you guys. I don't want you guys to fall asleep. All right. John Plackett again from Ireland, dark complexion. William Fitzgerald, a planter from Ireland, brown complexion. John Crookshank from Scotland, fair complexion. Joshua Williams from Virginia, fair freckled, red hair. Edward Brown, England, red face. Thomas Montjoy. Patrick McLean, one of the detachments gone to South Carolina. All right, no information, no information. All right. So, man, we got the size roll of Captain Thomas Wagner's company at Fort Holland in the South Branch, August 1755. The roll gave the name, the county, the age, the height, and the complexion, country, and trade. Francis Austin Prince William. All right, he's 5'9", he's dark complexion, and he's from England. Samuel Poe from Northumberland. Northumberland. You guys see I'm having trouble with this word. He's dark complexion. He's also from England, so we got 2 English with dark complexion. John Creoch from Ireland. He's brown complexion. Baby Brooks from Virginia, brown complexion. George Solomons, he's ruddy from Scotland. John Cole, he's ruddy from Scotland as well. John Franklin, brown complexion from New England. Richard Gale X is brown from England. Thomas Moss, he's red complexion from England. George Jenkins, he's swarthy. He's from Virginia. All right, he's a drummer. Daniel Wright from Culpeper, Virginia. A lot of genealogy going back to there. Dark complexion. He's from Virginia. He's a planter. He ain't no slave. He's a planter. He has his own farm. He's not a slave. He's dark-skinned person, a so-called Negro. In the 1700s, he's not a slave. He's a planter. John Miles, he's from Ireland. He's brown complexion. Thomas Williams, he's Welsh. He's brown complexion. Robert Stewart, right? What do we know about the Stewarts again? That they're what? Dark brown, or they're so-called black, dark brown. He's Scottish, right? Dark brown, Scottish. Stewart, dark brown, Scottish. Stewart, dark brown, Scottish. Stewart. Let that sink in. Dream about that. Thomas Hitchcock. He's dark complexion, England. John Halley, dark complexion from Virginia. Jeremiah Taylor, Accomack, dark complexion, Virginia. Robert Elliott, he's from Ireland, dark complexion. He's a planter. Edward Purcell, he's red complexion from Ireland. William Rogers, fair complexion from England. James Willimore, brown complexion from Virginia. Lawrence Rigby, he's from New York. He's fair complexioned. Alexander Grant, he's from Scotland, fair complexion. Okay, so it says Patois. The boy says Patois is the old Amharic and the Aboriginal dialect combination. All right. So yeah, maybe Amharic. So you're saying Amharic like Ethiopian? That's because I don't know if that is that what you're talking about. I don't think that's correct at all. All right, I would say they're actually more, like I was saying, they brought this old English Gaelic Ardmorican, these black Europeans over to Jamaica, and they mixed in, and they combined their, and that's where the Creole comes, right? When there was a Creole, that's like a little bit of the Indian, but there's also something else in there, and that Creole. and it's not Ethiopian, if that's what you mean. Ethiopian, we talking about burnt face, etymology. Ethiopian, burnt face, we're talking about complexion, not a place, because that didn't become a place until later on. Lawrence Rigby. All right, we got Alexander Graham, Edward Davis from Culpeper, brown complexion. John Hanna, red, Ireland. Edward Lewick, brown complexion, Ireland. Emmanuel Mills, England. He's yellow complexion from England. James Fraser, yellow complexion from Scotland. David Roundery, brown complexion from England. All right, where we go? Sorry, I got lost. I was looking at the chat. I got lost, guys. Excuse me if I go over the same thing. So we were at David Roundery, I believe. Yeah, brown complexion. John Farmer, brown complexion from Ireland. William Smith, brown complexion from Virginia. Joseph Hamilton, dark complexion from Virginia. William Short, 5'9", dark complexion from Ireland. Not Ethiopian, he's Irish. And he's dark, so-called Negro, Irish. Right? Irish, dark, he's not Ethiopian. Richard Willis, dark, from Virginia. Willis Scopo, yellow complexion from Virginia. Jonas Crickmore, brown complexion from Virginia. Okay, Disney Dirk is asking me if I can speak about the slave ships, and I'm gonna say, what slave ships? Can you show me one? All right, I'm gonna replay some of the info from my old videos next. That was part of this presentation. You're gonna see who they're actually bringing over on so-called slave ships. These are not slave ships. They're just merchant transport ships, passenger ships. What's those called? Cargo ships, battleships. There wasn't specifically slave ships ever made. That's a blueprint that they drew who knows when, and it never got made. That was the idea. Wasn't Tituba a witch? Tituba? Tituba was an Arawak Indian. I don't know if you want to call her a witch, though, just because she practiced her indigenous, practices, religious practices in front of foreigners who didn't understand it and called her a witch, All right, William Short, dark Ireland. Let me put down the music. Sorry about that. Richard Willis from dark Virginia. Willis Scopo. All right, I think I read all this. All right, sorry about that. Edward Grimes, brown complexion from Virginia. Anthony Wharton, he's from England, brown complexion. Thaddeus Pruitt, yellow complexion from Virginia. James Roberts, fair complexion. Edward Parrott Nansemont, fair from Virginia. William Bearcroft, Northumberland, fair complexion. John Pendergrass, fair complexion from Virginia. William Combs, James City, he's a mulatto from Virginia in the 1700s who was a planter. James Major, 5'7", brown complexion from Virginia. Edward Jones, 5'10", brown complexion, Virginia. James Biggers, brown complexion from Virginia. Henry Jones, fair complexion from Virginia. William Fitzgeffries, wow, Fitzgeffries, he's yellow complexion from Amelia. Amelia County, where the Saponis were. That was almost all Saponis over there. All right, yellow complexion. Who's the yellow man? All right, so that was the end of this slide. Now, what I want to do is move on to some more videos, some from previous videos, just so we can get a full understanding of what we're learning and what we've gone over before. If you just join us, hey, make sure to catch the beginning. All right. And yeah, on the way back, but we got still some info. So, all right, let's see. So we're talking about Black Irish, right? We talking about Black Irish? No? Oh, it's just some tanned. You think it's just Irish with tans? They got a little tan. All right. All that is conjecture. All right. So I'm going to put this video on. This is from part 3 of my White Servitude and Free Negro Masters series. I got 4 parts of this. These are so packed, with information and sources and just proof that Europeans were slaves. Europeans were slaves. And when I was doing this presentation, I knew in the back of my head that a lot of these were so-called Negro Europeans, but I had to bring this out to you guys. Remember, this is from last year, this video. I had to bring it out because I don't think everybody was ready for the information like what we're reading today. All right. So now knowing now that it's starting to seem like the majority of these people of color, not that the whole white thing came later on after the 1800s, most after the 1870s, 1850s. We're talking about Ellis Island majority. All right. But we're gonna get back into this again. When we were reading these sources again, of course they're going with the whole Pan-African theories and that blacks only came from Africa, so-called black people, and that every European was white. And because there's so much documented history of Europeans being brought and treated like slaves, indentured servants, and all that, they were just calling it white servitude, right? White servitude. And they say, oh, that was only a brief part of history, and then it was black slaves from Africa they brought. That's a lie. It was always indentured servant. These indentures were not being met a lot of the times. People were getting stuck in loopholes unfairly. A lot of people being stuck as indentured servants for life. A lot of people came with that sentence. A lot of the convicts and prisoners from Ireland and Scotland, a lot of these were so-called Negro people, they came in as with life terms, indentures for life, and they were being sent to the coal mines, the plantations in the West Indies, the sugar plantations, all that. All right. So this is just a little brief thing about what these videos are about. I really recommend you guys to take the time to go to part 1, White Servitude and Free Negro Masters. Sit down. It's 4 hours long. The second one is about 2 hours long. This is part 3. It's about 3 hours long. Part 4, about 4 hours long. This is packed with info and sources. Let's not, let's take advantage of this info. Let's correlate. Let's not forget what we've gone over. All right. So let me go ahead and start this right here. All right.
This website is called accessiblearchives.com. All right, and it has an article here. Just wanted to read, found it very interesting. It says Irish indentured servants in the colonies. And this is from J.D. Thomas. It says, until the late 18th century, indentured servitude was very common in British North America. All right. Again, repeated history here. It was often a way of poor Europeans to emigrate to the American colonies. They signed an indenture in return for a passage. After their indenture expired, the immigrants were free to work for themselves or another employer. In some cases, the indenture was made with a chips master who unsold the indenture to an employer in the colonies. All right, so then the chip master became like a in-between guy. He was making business out of it too, selling indentured servants. Most indentured servants worked as farm laborers. All right, farm laborers meaning hard labor in the tobacco fields, cotton fields too, sugar plantations. All right, we're not just talking about they're going to go do domestic work or crafts work, but they were also doing hard labor. Although some were apprenticed to craftsmen. All right, even though some were apprenticed to craftsmen, the terms of an indenture were not always enforced by American courts. Although runaways were usually sought out and returned to their employer. Most labor contracts made were in increments of 5 years with the opportunity to extend another 5 years. Many contracts also provided a free passage home after the dictated labor was completed. However, there were generally no policies and contracts regulating control over employers once the labor hours were completed, which led to frequent abuse and ill treatment. All right, so there's basically saying that even though those were the rules and that's what it was established, it was a contract. They're saying that even when their contract was over, though, it was hard to regulate what the employers did. They kept them. They didn't want to let them go. So a lot of these people had to go to court and fight or run away. All right, and they were being abused and ill-treated. We're not just talking about so-called black people here. So, I mean, we're talking about both. When we're talking about Europeans, again, I want you to emphasize because I'm about to show you something right now. I remember Europeans were not just white; it was both colors. All right, we had Aboriginal, Indigenous Europeans, and then we had, pale face white Europeans coming as well.
All right. So that's old school Cootie Mail. That's Cootie Mail 2020 right there, letting you know what I was about to show you guys. All right. I got a whole lot more. I got a whole lot more to show you guys. All I need is the time. That's what I need, the time to show you and to make the videos, do the research, put it together. But it's there. I'm gonna prove it to you guys, and I hope. I mean, by now you guys should already like, I mean, you gotta use your common sense, be logical, be scholarly. All right, this ain't about feelings. You gotta let go of the whole Pan African thing. We haven't talked about Africans yet once. All right, so Cootie Mail letting you know. Remember, these were also Black Europeans because we're talking about white servitude in this video, but that was just to get you used to the idea that Europeans were slaves too. All right. So now we know Europeans were black. So who was really the slaves and who's Kunta Kinte?
Our 18th century newspaper collection includes the Pennsylvania Gazette and the South Carolina Gazette. Both newspapers carried many advertisements for the sale of indentured contracts and the recovery of runaway servants. All right, not just slave servants, indentured contracts. All right, so we're going to read some newspaper clips and you can verify these again from the Pennsylvania Gazette and the South Carolina Gazette in the years they specify. All right, here it goes. Indentures for sale. All right, for sale. August 19, 1762, to be sold, an Irish woman servant who has 3 years and 3 months to serve. Inquire at the new printing office. All right, so she has 3 years left in her term and her service. All right, so this person is selling his servant just like property. All right, just like chattel, just like property. He got here. You want 3 more years before it's over? I'm done with her. And now we got October 29, 1766, to be disposed of, two Irish servant boys, times the one having 6, the other 7 years to serve. Wow, so full contract still, 7 years to go, and are suitable either for town or country business. You can put them to do anything you want, tobacco field, cotton field, or whatever you want to use them for. The above servants' times are disposed of for no fault, but only for want of employment. For further particulars, inquire to William Parr. All right, so this is August 10, 1738. Just arrived from Dublin in the snow, Jolly Bacchus, Peter Cullen, commander, a parcel, likely English and Irish servants, tradesmen, shoemakers, tailors, weavers, black and white smiths, carpenters, husbandmen, sundry other tradesmen, also a parcel of likely servant women, fit for either town or country work, whose times are to be disposed of by Thomas Walker, butcher, or Samuel Walker, or John Dumont, or the said master on board. The aged snow, now lying off against Market Street Wharf, where all due attendance will be given. Philadelphia, all right? So you see how they were just selling people, servants, just like property. May We're gonna get to something very interesting. Let's keep reading some of this. It says May 25th, 1734 says to be sold by Ripton Hutchinson. We did a genealogy trace to one of the Hutchinson lines, all right? In one of my videos. I'm not sure if this is the same family, but it says here that a Ripton Hutchinson was selling on the bay extraordinary good butter and firkins, herrings, cheese, Irish potatoes, men's and women's servants. So he wasn't just selling his servants, he was also selling, cheese, Irish potatoes. So he was including these people, like just like the potatoes property, just selling it like chattel, right? Irish linens or several sorts and good Barbados rum, all right? So his display included humans, terces and barrels. The source is the South Carolina Gazette from May 25th, 1734. It says May 13, 1766, to be sold for no fault, an Irish indented servant maid who is an excellent seamstress and has upwards of 4 years to serve. All right, she still got 4 years to serve. All right, now check this out. We're gonna get into some interesting things here. All right, this is the main reason I wanted to show you guys this. So it says August 16, 1750. A runaway on the 12th instant from Joseph Jackson of London Grove, Chester County, an Irish servant man named William Farrell, of middle stature and brown complexion. Brown complexion. Who? An Irish servant. We're talking about an Irish servant. He's not white. He's not pale. He's brown complexion. Aren't you brown complexion? So is this a white person or a so-called Negro? Anything would be up to conjecture, but we have a description of him clearly stating and describing him as brown complexion. All right. Had on when he went away, stripped flannel jacket, a brown sailor's jacket, a pair of coarse trousers, stripped drawers, a felt hat, and checkered shirt. his hair cut off. Likewise, all right, so it's going to say that he also ran away with somebody else. So it says, likewise, ran away with the aforesaid servant, an Irish servant, another Irish servant named Thomas Collard, all right, belonging to Samuel Ramsay of Londonderry. Samuel Ramsay, so that was his servant, in the said county of a dark complexion. Of a dark complexion. So this Irish servant man, this other runaway, Thomas Collard, is of dark complexion. So his boy, Joseph, let me see, what's his name? William Farrell, who is brown complexion, ran away, right? With him, another English servant or Irish servant, sorry. And he's also of dark complexion. They're both colored people. So what are you going to take from dark complexion? I know you're going to say, well, oh, black means white, Kurimeo. All right, well, right here it says dark. It doesn't say black. I mean, yeah, black. It says dark complexion. What is dark complexion? All right, this is an Irish servant. These are the Negro Irish, is what I'm trying to explain to you. They were sending also Irish Negroes, so-called Negroes, dark people of color, Irish people of color, indigenous people from Ireland over here. They were sending them over here too, along with the white people. Dark complexion. This is from 1750. It says, and his pock marked, had on a green double-breasted jacket with clear buttons and red linen, black breeches, black wig. His other clothes not certainly known. Whoever takes up and secures the said servants, so that their masters may have them again, shall have £6 rewards for both, or £3 for either. All right, so you'll get paid by Joseph Jackson or Samuel Ramsey. Now, are these so-called Negroes? That's the other thing I want you guys to understand. We have to research all of that. Just just because we think in they're owners, slave owners, don't mean they're white. All right.
And fair use.
All right. So before I continue with this part, all right. So it's not just Jamaicans, all right. It's a lot of them in the West Indies, not just Jamaicans, but I want to address the boy here, our boy, the boy. So, with all respect to the Torah, we're reading primary sources here. We're not reading scripture. And there's nowhere in the Bible that says that Ethiopia is a place in Africa. Show me that verse where it says Ethiopia is a place in Africa. The etymology of Ethiopian is Ethiop, burnt face. We're talking about complexion, not a landmass. And for you to put it in Africa, that's conjecture. When we know about the three Ethiopias, we know that the Greeks called America the Western Ethiopia. So it's not about a place in Africa, So, it's cool you got opinions, but we kind of research here, We've been doing it for 4 years. And, this has nothing to do with Africa or Ethiopia. This ain't Marcus Garvey stuff here. No, we're not going back to Africa. All right. So, with all respect, we're here to learn and build and dodge the hijack. We're not here to repeat the old, old hijack conjecture stuff, Pan African views. No, we're not here for that. We're 4 years strong into this, and our time is now. And we're done with all that. We're done with all that. All right, the boy. With all respect, you got a lot of comments and opinions. That's cool, but they're just opinions. All right, you're talking to people who actually research. You're talking to this whole chat. A lot of these people research. All right, they know their history. Okay, well, you're bringing up scripture in Ethiopia. What for? And you said they speak Amharic. That's Ethiopian. They don't speak Amharic. Has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with that. All right. Again, we're reading the roles from the Virginia Colonial Soldiers book. We saw that they were naming a lot of these Irish dark skin and dark complexion, swarthy, and all that, right? You guys starting to see? All right. You guys starting to see? So this is gonna when I made this video, I was hoping you guys kind of caught on what I was trying to show. I don't think a lot of people caught on. Maybe today, after rewatching it now, you guys are gonna catch to see these are not just some uh, escaped Africans who were basically took on Irish customs and celebrating St. Patrick's Day today like it's their holiday. No, that's not no. Why would an African? And I said it the other day. Why would an African, when he's freed, all of a sudden take on European ways and start dressing like you're European? Why didn't he, bring his culture back, his tribal culture? What tribe? Give me a specific tribe that you came from. All right. So we're gonna play this like it's the first time. All right. Yeah, it's not a misunderstanding. Oh, trust me, I overstand. I overstand. You said Amharic. That's conjecture. You're saying Amharic is the oldest language. You got to prove that. All right. So just because you believe that, now you're putting it on everybody. Now, and you just said Jamaicans speak Amharic, when I can show you with more history, they're actually more closer to the Gaelic, to the Armorican, the old Armorican Gaelic Celtic language, and then the indigenous, because they came and mixed with the indigenous. All right, had nothing to do with Africa or a place in Ethiopia.
Right, this is for fair.
Its Irish heritage in a big way each year around St. Patrick's Day. They call it Green Week, and as our Melissa Noel found out, the festivities are also a commemoration of the island's freedom fighters.
Celebrating St. Patrick's Day is so special here on the island of Montserrat that they don't just do it for 24 hours. They celebrate for an entire week and culminate with a major parade through the streets of Salem.
This St. Patrick's Festival is unique because it highlights the blend of African and Irish heritage that's distinctive to Montserrat.
It brings the people from the diaspora, especially. It brings the younger people who have relocated, those who were born during or lived shortly after the volcanic crisis. It brings them back home.
All right, so I just want to say, so where's the Irish part? Like, shouldn't they look more what they would consider mulatto? Like, shouldn't they be more so-called mixed, right? I'm not saying they should be. I'm just saying according to what they tell us always, right? So what we've been reading, right?
Okay, and we need that. And when they're here, we need to just cultivate the culture, let them see it, let them share it, so that it can be carried on.
Amid the shamrock shirts and suits was the sweet sound of steel pan and people dressed in traditional masquerade attire. It's a celebration of all things Irish and Caribbean at the same time. The experience is one that people from all over the world come to Montserrat to be a part of.
I can't imagine spending St. Patrick's Day anywhere else.
We're enjoying the hospitality. Yeah. That's what good about the hospitality. You feel like you're home. Yeah, everything is just really nice.
What's also unique about this festival is why it was started in the first place.
Not so many people know the African side, what happened in that glorious St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 1768, when the African slaves on the island decided that they were going to risk it all and go for freedom. It did not work, but the symbolism of what they did is what the spirit is what we're living today.
All right. So, much love to the brother right there. So he's saying, talking about not knowing the history. Can he show me, he's saying African, can he show me and prove to me that these were Africans that did the uprising on St. Patrick's Day? They specifically chose St. Patrick's Day to do the uprising? I can see it, let's just say, some Irish people being motivated, right, to do a revolution on St. Patrick's Day more than an African. He wouldn't even know what holiday it is or what day it is, right? Shouldn't even know. All right, and he said it didn't work. Dodged the hijack big time, all right? What are we really looking at? Are we really looking at Africans or the so-called black Irish people that are being called African? I'm not saying everybody is, because they told you, right? Irish and Caribbean, or Irish and what? Carib Indian, Arawak.
This is a celebration.
Can he show me?
All right, I just wanted to real quick, I held myself back when I made this video. I really wanted to say a lot more, but I feel like I can now, and I feel like I should now. And honestly, this guy right here, he's the gatekeeper. Straight up, this is the gatekeeper. All right, look at him. Look at Marcus Garvey. Look at that drawing right there. If he's African, why is he dressed like that? I'll wait. And he's saying Africans did a revolt on St. Patrick's Day. They chose St. Patrick's Day to do the revolt, and now they celebrate St. Patrick's Day. This is the biggest St. Patrick's Day celebration in the world. Did you guys know that? Irish go here to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. White Irish. All right? And Ethiopia is not a landmass. All right? Ethiopia is not a landmass. Tamarikan, beloved land, that was here. Ancient Egypt was here. Tamari was never Africa. Africa is a Roman word. All right? Look it up. Look it up right now. All right? Prove me wrong. Africa is a Roman word. It was a Roman colony in Tunisia. It was a small little colony, a Roman colony in Tunisia. They took that to be the whole name of the continent eventually. But that was a Roman colony. It's a Roman word. It's Roman, Africanus. All right, Africanus, not Tamari. Don't be mixing up, you know. I mean, I don't know if you guys don't know or you're just trying to add your own little narratives to it, you know, because when you push it like that so much, it starts feeling like you guys just don't want to, you just don't, you know, you want the truth and you preaching truth, but you're really getting stuck back in the whole Pan-African thing. All right. With much respect. All right. I keep it real. And see this guy right here? To me, this guy right here, he's a clown. This is a clown right here. He's the gatekeeper. He knows the history. He's a Mason. He's a Freemason. He's a Freemason. This is a gatekeeper, just like Marcus Garvey was a Freemason, Prince Hall. He never went to Africa, talking about let's go back to Africa. Get me these ships. Who financed Marcus Garvey to get those ships? Well, it was white supremacists. White supremacists financed Marcus Garvey because they had the same idea. What idea? To put all so-called black people back in Africa. All right? Shabbat Shalom. We ain't playing games. This ain't about, you know, if you've missed the presentation in the last 4 years, you got to really catch up. All right? All right? So, you know, the boy, you're free to do your own video and present the information to us so we can all verify. And I'm gonna ask you respectfully, let's not interrupt or distract the chat anymore with the African hijack. All right. Again, because we got gatekeepers today, back then, now. Let's not be one of those gatekeepers subconsciously without even knowing. Let's not be one of those gatekeepers. All right, let's continue. So Montserrat, all right, Montserrat, they have the biggest St. Patrick's Day festival.
Black, so-called black Irish people that are being called African. I'm not saying everybody is, because they told you, right? Irish and Caribbean, or Irish and what? Carib Indian, Arawak.
This is a celebration of freedom and a fusion of cultures that makes for a St. Patrick's experience unlike any other in the world. In Salem, Montserrat, I'm Melissa Noel for One Caribbean TV.
All right, we're gonna get another video right here just to correlate again, just get a perspective of what I'm talking about, why it's so much part of their culture in Montserrat.
Most Montserratians have Irish names somewhere in their genealogy.
Danny Sweeney,
Morris Gibbons,
Joseph Sweeney.
My mother reminded me this morning of the pluses that we got from the Irish. And one of them was the ability to throw stones accurately. They can pick up a rock or a bottle and you're in trouble. I'm also told that we learned to make stone walls, accurate cuts in stones and bricks to make walls from the Irish.
On the east side of Montserrat there is a lot of shipwreck. And that's why most of the white people from Ireland was living in the hills.
Montserrat was once a white colony without any black people for 100 years. And then after the slave trade, that also changed.
Okay, boom. Rewind. All right. With all respect, Elder, Mr. Sweeney. Now, you just said Montserrat was all white people for 100 years. Are you serious? Everybody in the chat. Do you guys think that Montserrat, the island of Montserrat, was all white people for 100 years? Can I get a 1 for yes, a 2 for no? And then he said, and then it got black after the African slavery. We already know there was no African slaves brought over here by the millions. So what are you talking about? See, the thing is, he knows the history, but because he has a hijacked mind, because he's still in Africa, because he still thinks everything came out of Africa, he realized that the history was Europeans that were actually there. So he said, oh, well, obviously they were white. So we had Europeans here, only white Europeans here for 100 years until the African slave trade. So first of all, he just admitted that the first slaves in Montserrat were white. He just said that, right? But in actuality, even though we never got taught that there were white people who were slaves, he's telling you straight up there. He's actually dropping a bomb right there, right? But he's dropping it with a Pan-African view. He's dropping it with a Pan-African view because he realized there were so many Europeans in Montserrat. It's recorded, and they were Irish and Scottish and English, right? He's like, oh, they were probably white people. Man, there was white people here for 100 years. No single colored person in the Caribbean, a Caribbean island in America that today is mainly a people of color. There was no people of color for 100 years. Where's all the white people? Where's all the white people? I'll wait. Where's all the white people? All right. So we're going to get back to Mr. Sweeney. He, all respect and much love to him. He might not know this history. And maybe if he knew, he would embrace it even more. His Irish part. Look at that shirt he got on. Look at the shirt he got on. You're not half this and half African, Mr. Sweeney. You might be half indigenous and half Irish, Mr. Sweeney. Sweeney is an Irish name. Let's go.
So the Irish who was indentured, and then I'm also told that we learned.
I just want to go back so you guys can hear what he's saying. Hear what he's saying again.
To make stone walls, accurate cuts in stones and bricks to make walls from the Irish.
On the east side of Montserrat there is a lot of shipwreck. And that's why most of the white people from Ireland was living in the hills.
Oh, white people.
Montserrat was once a white colony without any black people for 100 years. And then after the slave trade, that also changed.
Sorry.
So the Irish, who was indentured servants, who also classified as slaves, was also, who mingled with the blacks. And that's how I become this color.
Oh, Mr. Sweeney, that's how you became. So you're a Mr. Sweeney. You're actually saying you're Irish, but now you're this color because you mixed in with the blacks with crayon colors, Mr. Sweeney. You became that color. So you're saying you're not those people. You're saying you are actually an Irishman who became this color because he mixed with crayon colors. Who are these crayon colors you're mixing with? Which ones? Show me the genealogy, because I bet it may be other Irish or even indigenous people. Mr. Sweeney, are you sure you mixed with blacks, Mr. Sweeney, and became this color? Or have you always been that color? Your ancestors always been that color?
So the Irish who was indentured servants, who also classified as slaves, was also who mingled with the blacks, and that's How I become this color.
That's how you became that color. But did you see the women? All right, look at this clothing. Now they got the indigenous clothing, right? With the green quilt, the stripes and the what's that quilt. So where's the African in here? When we're talking about culture, when we're talking about what they're wearing, this top shirt, blouse, we know that's an indigenous thing from here. We dress like that here in Costa Rica, the indigenous people, the women. And then they got the Irish skirt. All right. They still rock it. Why would they rock this so much? Why would it be such a big thing? Why are you not dressing like your tribal, your African tribal clothing? Huh? Are you guys starting to get the picture? Did you guys understand this? Be honest. Did you guys understand why I was showing you guys this a year ago? Be honest. All right.
The blacks, and that's how I become this color.
All right. So much love to the elder right there. And he told you, hey, Montserrat basically was a white island. That was a white Irish colony, really. It was more than half, more than 60%. They give you these numbers, but it was most of them are all Irish. And he's saying they mingled with the Africans, right? So they're leaving first of all, they're leaving out the Aborigines, right? The indigenous people, right? They're like completely canceling them out. And then they're telling you, well, they mix with the Africans, right? They have no proof of any of these people being African, right? Either way. Now the other thing is, you know, he's saying that that they mingled and now he's a colored man. Where's all the mixture? Where's the mulatto looking people? Where's the rest of the, it was a full of, what happened to them? Where's the rest of the Irish? I'm trying to tell you something, and I think I'm gonna be able to prove it in upcoming videos. And I know I am. But
okay. And I said, and I think I'm gonna be able to prove it. You know what? And I said, I know I am. Hawa. All right, because we're dealing with true history here. We're not dealing with beliefs or personal attachments to doctrines or land masses. All right. So, you know, I'm being a little hard on Mr. Sweeney here, but it was kind of weird that he said, well, now I'm this color because of, so he's saying he's actually Irish. Listen to what he's saying. He's like, I'm this color now. See what happened when I mixed with the blacks? You know? All right, let's continue.
Are we looking at some original Irish here?
I'm trying to trace my family Gibbons in Galloway, in Ireland. I'm hoping someday we'll be able to connect the family from Ireland and the family, the Gibbons in Montserrat, in one. And I promise that if I found the Gibbons in Ireland, I'll share the land that the Gibbons have here so that we could be as one, Ireland and Montserrat.
There's a Montserratian everywhere, from Alaska to Australia, you name it. There's a Montserratian under a rock somewhere. And in the same way, I'm told that the Irish are everywhere, and they all love homecoming.
Look at the gear they got on. You see with the checkered. These are some original Scots, original Irish. See that? Where they get all that? The quilts.
So we have a huge homecoming at Christmas, huge homecoming at St. Patrick's. So we have that close connection to our homeland. And that, I think, has come somewhat from the Irish as well.
What did he say? A huge connection to our homeland. He said, right after he said St. Patrick's Day, a huge connection to our homeland. This guy right here is suspect to me. He's one of those political guys there, politicians. He might be a Freemason. He might know the history. He might know his genealogy. We're talking about, you don't believe in this conspiracy stuff? It's fine, man. But there's gatekeepers out here. He just told you right there, our homeland.
To the world, he's a hero. To the people of Ennis in County Clare, he's one of their own. And they were waiting for him, turning out in their hundreds to welcome the boxing legend back to his ancestral home. Greeted with a roar that...
Okay, well, hold up. Did I just hear that? Hold up. Muhammad Ali, right? Ali, a Muslim, Ali, Islam, the nation of Islam. Muhammad Ali, for the black man, you know, right? Muhammad Ali, right? Where is he? In his ancestral homeland. Let's get that again. His ancestral homeland.
Greeted with a roar that could rival even the rumble in the jungle, the 3-time former world heavyweight champion, now suffering from Parkinson's disease, was here to unveil a monument near the spot where his ancestral home once stood. But how on earth does the world's greatest living boxer trace his roots back to County Clare? Muhammad Ali's great-grandfather Abe Grady was born in Ennis, but he emigrated to Kentucky in the 1860s. There he married a freed African-American slave. They had a...
Okay, hold up. So his great-grandfather, an Irishman that's from this town was most likely people of color before, all right? So look how they're embracing him over there in Ireland. Now, they're saying that his great-grandfather ended up in Kentucky and married a freed person of color. What does that mean? These are all tags, adjectives, titles. What does that mean? Freed from what? Was he a slave ever? Are you trying to say she was a slave before? Or are you just stating that she's free and she was never a slave? So a person of color, right? Could this be an Indian they're talking about? Huh? Because I know that these Black Irish were heavily mixing with the indigenous people of America. All right? And I'm not doing this to upset anybody, to hurt anybody's beliefs or anything like that. Appreciate you very much, Carol. Thanks for joining us today. You know, I want you guys to really know thyself. This might help us out in the long run. We're already correct in history. There's no stopping this. We've already opened Pandora's box. All right. Did I know I was gonna find a news video telling me Muhammad Ali's Irish and he's over there celebrating his ancestral home? Right? Now, what are the Irish? Okay, do you guys know the logo of the Boston Celtics, the original? Do you guys know the original logo of the Boston Celtics? Huh? Oh, they're not showing it. This is not the original. The original was the fighting. The guy fighting with his dukes up. They changed it. Where is it? Here we go. Okay, I guess it's the Notre Dame. All right, Fighting Irish. They're good at boxing, right? They've known to box and always want to fight, and always, getting a little too excited when they drink. They start fighting right outside the pub, and then they make up again, and like, yeah, let's keep drinking. I'm not trying to make fun of them. I'm from Boston. There's pubs all over the hood, and this happened all the time. I just be driving by the pub, and they're just outside fighting like nothing. Oh, there goes another Irish fight. All right, so the Fighting Irish. Let's go back real quick. Hold up. The Fighting Irish.
And they were waiting for him, turning out in their hundreds to welcome the boxing legend back to his ancestral home. Greeted with a roar that could rival even the rumble in the jungle, the 3-time former world heavyweight champion, now suffering from Parkinson's disease, was here to unveil a monument near the spot where his ancestral home once stood. But how on earth does the world's greatest living boxer trace his roots back to County Clare? Muhammad Ali's great-grandfather Abe Grady was born in Ennis, but he emigrated to Kentucky in the 1860s. There he married a freed African-American slave. They had a son, John Lewis Grady, who married Birdie Moorhead, and she gave birth to Odessa Lee Grady, who married Cassius Clay Sr. They, in turn, had a son, Cassius Clay Jr., who, as we all now know, later changed his name to Muhammad Ali. Today, the Turnpike Road in Ennis is lined with neat council houses, none prouder than the home of the late Eileen O'Grady, whose daughter Mary kissed and hugged her famous distant cousin. Muhammad's boxing days may be long behind him, but could it be that his ancestry had something to do with his success? With 37 knockouts and 19 successful title defences,
could it be?
He must surely have a claim to have inherited something of the luck of the Irish.
Oh. All right. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, Ronaldo. I mean, I don't know if you missed the part where they say his ancestral homeland, right? And then it said that he came, his father, the Irish one, came to America and married a freed person of color. So where is the African? You know, where's the African? Huh? That was annoying. See the boy? See, now you're on something else. Now you've proven that you're here to troll. So are you saying he's not Irish? You know, what do you mean by if a goat is born in a pig pen, is it a pig? What is your point? Go ahead and ignore. You know, we're not, you know, I'm done with the opinions, man. Sorry, man. All right. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by, though. Thanks for stopping by, though. It was great. Great of you. Stop by here. We're going to continue a little bit. All right. This is from part 4 of White Servitude Indentured in the Penal Colonies of America. This part right here, the video, we're about an hour in, and we're talking, we're reading from the Ebony magazine from the 60s, an article they wrote, very good article that correlates all the information that I basically showed in these 4 parts of this series. It's summed up, but in a better way, described in a better way, because he's not being so Pan-African with it, right?
Towards the end of this interesting year, the first blacks landed at Jamestown, the first black so-called blacks, right? Dodged the hijack. They found the system of servitude firmly established, and most of the white population living in the shadow of chains. First so-called blacks were also actually indentured servants. We know that, right? In that same year, a ship from London brought 100 white women, and they were bought up immediately at a price of 120 pounds of tobacco each. Another memorable event of the year was the arrival of 100 poor children from the streets of England. 8 years later, about 1,500 kidnapped children were sent to Virginia. So I know we're reading this article from the Ebony magazine from 1969, November, but we've already verified a lot of these facts that he's stating. We've already verified most of this information on parts 1, 2, and 3, and my other videos. So again, 1,500 kidnapped children were sent to Virginia, European children. This include colored and pale skin, light complexion, white, as you call white people. And their services were so satisfactory that the authorities pleaded for another shipment of the friendless boys and girls. The number of servants crossing the Atlantic increased year by year, and by the middle of the century,
middle of the century. So we're talking about, you know, children, women, men being brought, all right, being kidnapped, brought to America for what exactly? To colonize or to work plantations or to be servants, so-called slaves, all right? Now, Inayan, hey, family, you know, you're saying you're Irish, but then you're saying you're African. Can you prove the African part? Can you prove the African part? You're going with an out of Africa theory. That's a theory. Theories are not facts. And black is a crayon color. Black is not a people, a nation, or a tribe. Black is a crayon color. You can't make up a nation by a crayon color and adjective. All right. And you didn't go from Africa to Ireland. That's conjecture. Please prove that. Show me the source. Show me the migration. Show me the record. Show me. What tribe in Africa are you from, man? Don't tell me you did a DNA test. Oh, man. You must be new here, man.
Trade in white men was an international business which commanded the attention of politicians, merchants, captains, and bankers. All right, this was business. They're gonna keep saying white, Europeans, white, but there's also colored people in there too. All right, but now, this whole time, where's the Africans? If the numbers of servants crossing the Atlantic increased year by year, where it became an international business, and you had politicians and bankers and all these people, captains involved. The servants came from all over Christian Europe, from Germany and from Holland and Sweden and Scotland. Most, however, came from England and Ireland. They came, these Christian demi-slaves, the same way most black slaves came, the same way so-called colored people came in. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
The same way so-called blacks came. Who? Irish, Scottish, Germans, Christians, cramped up in ships like sardines, dying on the way, being thrown over. This is a real Middle Passage. We ain't talking about Kunta Kinte fairy tales here.
Same way, crammed, shoulder to shoulder, toe to toe, the living and dead side by side in the unventilated holds of crowded ships. All right? In this respect and others, there were striking similarities. Just like we read in the last video, packed like sardines, like fish, like herring. In this respect and others, there were striking similarities between the white slave trade and the black slave trade. There is no difference. It was all indentured servants. In fact, many of the same ports and the same merchants were involved in both trades. All right, same what? Same ports, same merchants. It was all the same. They're trying to separate it in history, but it wasn't like that. Some of the big African slave traders acquired their experience and capital in the white servant trade. You hear what they're saying, right? So it started with white servant trade. What African slave trade? Show me one ship. Dodge the hijack. There were also common mechanisms in the systems of capture and delivery. It was not for nothing that the trade in Irish servants was called the Irish slave trade. The trade in men, whether white men or black men or red men, was big business. Again, the trade in men, humans, men, whether they were what, Caucasian or white, pale skin, or what, so-called black, colored, melanated men, or red men, what you call red bloody, whatever you want to call red men, was big business. It was big business. It didn't matter the complexion. It was big business. And the men who profited from that business used the accepted merchandising and marketing skills. Most of the big traders and captains relied on hired agents who scoured the countryside, distributing propaganda, leaflets, and trumpeting the virtues of life as a bonded servant in Virginia or Maryland or Pennsylvania. We got that before, right? How they were recruiting people to send them over here, promising, like, hey man, it's gonna be great. After 7 years, you're gonna get this and that. It's just a little bit of work. But it was, a lot of them went through hell just to get, that piece of land or whatever they got after, their freedom dues. But when
yeah, so all right, I'm showing you the real slaves here, or the so-called slavery. It's not Africans. All right. And you say, well, how are we gonna know that? Yes, that's what they taught you in school to say. They programmed you to say that and react like this. You're taking this personal. You're like, nah, man, we all African, man. Nah, no, come on, cool, man. Yeah. And then the other guy comes in, we cons and stuff. He's a troll. Don't worry. I hit him right away. He's been trolling for years. All right. So, with all respect, Ronaldo, there's a lot of information you're not aware of. It's very obvious, and that's okay. I'm not trying to disrespect you or, be rude or anything, but we've been here 4 years. We've already put up the info. We've debunked the Africa slave trade. It wasn't from Africa. They were bringing people, brother. All right. the Sephardic Jews and Moors, these merchants that are actually talking about in this article with people of color. They owned the ships. They were the pirates. They were the captains. They were the mariners, right? Or Moors, all right? They were the ones who had the networks, the merchant networks all around the world. This is real history. You've obviously missed the last 10 videos. You're obviously new here, and that's okay. So take the time to see the info, all right? I don't just make comments without showing the evidence, all right? I don't just get on a YouTube and just leave my opinions on people's YouTubes and think it's truth just because you say so. Like Amani says, we back up everything we say. We back up everything we say. So you know, when you over here trying to teach, you're in the wrong crowd. You're in the wrong crowd. That goes for anybody here with the whole out of African thing. And it's funny, tonight a lot of trolls came out, huh? This information is very personal. I know it hurts you guys. I know that, you know, so many years of study, so many years you went to college, so many years of study and Pan-Africanism and Marcus Garvey and, you know, Africa, Africa, Africa. They just came out with Coming to America Part 2, and you fell for it again. You fell for it again. They just did the whole what was that, the Kunta Kinte thing again. They had a whole show and they have a series now, and you fell for it again when he got sued, when Alex Haley got sued for for plagiarizing a fictional book called The African. He got sued. He had to settle out of court, and he had to admit that Kunta Kinte was not his relative. Right? We've gone over this. We've also shown that the door of no return, right, in Senegal was actually a wealthy person's mansion. It was never a slave port. There is no records of it. And the mansion was built late in the 1700s, 1790s. All right? Slavery or importation of so-called African or Negroes or slaves ended in 1805. It was outlawed in the US in 1805. You gotta really do this research, and you gotta find me one slave ship, just one. Just find me one, because we still got Viking ships in museums from the 1200s and 1100s AD, but you can't show me one slave ship. And we've already proven that one of these so-called slave ships was never a slave ship. It was actually a battalion ship, Portuguese battalion ship, warship, cargo ship. They just happened to be big enough to carry people, indentured servants, whoever they were carrying around. All right? I tell you this with respect. Brother, they lied to us about everything. Everything. So if you're here taking this personally, that's not being scholarly. You got to show me the evidence, because we've already debunked that. We've already debunked that. All right. And it's okay. You know, guys, hey, sorry. I'm like this. Sometimes I want to just come at people, you know, but I was not doing it with hate. You know, my intention is not to diss anybody or anything, because people feel bold enough to, you know, put in their hijack after we've done all this research and work, and we've shown, even in this video today, and you over here talking about Africa, when we're showing you swarthy Germans, swarthy Scottish, swarthy English, right, coming over here. I just showed you a runaway ad today. 2 Irishmen, runaways. They were the slaves, not Africans, brother. All right?
Methods failed. Other forms of persuasion were used, including kidnapping and coercion. Remember, they were spiriting them away. Spirits, right? Kidnapping. Usually with the explicit or implicit cooperation of the authorities. Ruthless agents called spirits, there you go, openly kidnapped men, women, and children on the streets of Bristol and other cities and held them in depots until the day of departure. These spirits were good at their trade. These spirits, one man said he had spirited away 500 persons a year for 12 years. He was making money. In 1617, an affidavit was sworn out against one William Thien, who spirited away 840 persons in a single year. You hear that? Kidnapped. As can be imagined, this was not a particularly good period for people who liked to walk the streets alone. In fact, things got so bad in London that one could precipitate a major riot by shouting the word spirit. There were other stratagems equally successful. Some ship captains made a practice of visiting the Clerkenwell House of Correction and plying the women prisoners with drinks. When the women were sufficiently drunk, the captains, with the connivance of the warden, would carry them off to America. You hear this? Captains and magistrates also recruited prostitutes. On November 17, 1692, one Narcissus Luttrell noted in his diary that a ship lay in Leith going for Virginia, on board which the magistrates had ordered 50 lewd women out of the houses of correction and 30 others who walked the streets after 10 at night. From time to time, the colonial authorities scheduled special projects. For example, there was the famous and controversial project for sending some 1,000 young Irish girls to Jamaica for breeding purposes. Again.
Tell them.
Deep.
Tell them.
From time to time, the colonial authorities scheduled special projects. For example, there was the famous and controversial project for sending some 1,000 young Irish girls to Jamaica for breeding purposes. So where's their offspring today? Wouldn't it be more lighter, more pale skin in Jamaica?
All right, so that was just a brief here. I'm trying to, show you sign. This is stuff you can actually research and prove to yourself. So if you think this is all conjecture, there's no sources to what this guy is saying, we've already verified all this information. Again, this is part 4 of this series. This video alone, this video is almost 4 hours. There are other ones, together. This is about what? Let me see. About 20 hours of nonstop sources. And you over here talking about Africa, man. When we got 1,000 young Irish girls being sent to Jamaica for breeding purposes. So where is the so-called white Irish descendants of these 1,000 Irish girls in Jamaica? Where are they? That's because these were people of color mostly. Who are the Jamaicans really? Who did they really mix with? Was it Africans or was it Europeans, Black Europeans? And I'm talking about the Indians. Who did they really mix with? All right, so just want to go over to another part of this video real quick. We're almost done with the presentation today. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Hope it's not too late, all right, for you. And I'm on defense mode right now.
Been sold like property. All right, I want to read this book now. It's called White Servitude in Colonial South Carolina by Warren B. Smith. This is from the University of South Carolina Press. This is from 1961, and these are the contents of the book. All right, we're in the introduction of the book, and it gets to this part here. I want to read. It says, one perceptive student of South Carolina history had tried in October 1911 to refute Lowell's statement that having white indentured servants in South Carolina was an impossibility. All right, so before that, they were explaining how people were trying to deny that it existed. All right, so this person is basically showing something else. Theodore Jervey presented as evidence of the existence of the institution the fact that 32 Scottish servants had been purchased in 1716 by the governor for the protection of the frontier. However, when Elizabeth Donnan was investigating the subject in 1920, she went back to the Bassett thesis that white indentured servants had been brought in originally but had been outnumbered very soon by the slaves. She used as evidence of the growing black population the fact that in 1698 an act for the encouragement of the importation of white servants had been passed, which was designed to maintain the same balance between Negroes and white servants as had existed in the first years of the colony. Now they're talking about Europeans when they're saying white. It says here, chapter 1, the introduction of white indentured servants. All right,
so I just want to briefly right there, just real quick, so you can see this. Again, this is 4 hours just in this video of sources. All right, who was the real actual slaves, and what was slavery in America really? We're talking about indentured servitude. All right, we're talking about indentured servitude. I'll get to another part right here. 1 second. All right. I know a lot of you, you know, it's hard. I know it's hard, man. So many years of studying the wrong thing, or a hijack, or a doctrine. We didn't really verify the info. We just liked how it sounded, really. We just liked how it sounded, you know? Now, look what it says here. The poor Protestants of Europe. Who's the Protestants? What have we learned about these Protestants? Who were the Huguenots? Weren't the Huguenots Protestants? Who were the Huguenots? They were the Moors and Sephardic Jews that were kicked out of Spain, ended up in France, became known as Huguenots. They were protesting against the Catholic Empire, right? They had to be new Christians. They had to go and hide in and be crypto, new Christians. They took on the denomination of Protestant, Quakers, and all the rest of them. Presbyterian, Baptist. Yes, right? See what it says a little bit about the Protestants here.
Indentured servants. And this is about the poor Protestants of Europe. All right, they say it's here by far the largest number, and certainly the most important group of the white indentured servants were the poor Protestants from Europe. All right, so real quick, I want you to dodge the hijack big time, because I've been trying to tell you, you know, remember when I say Protestants, keep that in mind for my next videos when we're talking about the French Huguenots, who were also Protestants, and who these Protestants really were all these people of pale or white complexion? No, history tells us a lot of these Protestants, you know, especially the Huguenots were mixed with a lot of Moriscos and Sephardic Jews who had converted over to Christianity. All right, so dodge the hijack. I'm big up, but letting you know that a very large percentage of these indentured servants were so-called white indentured Protestants from Europe. So remember that for our future videos. These were largely voluntary immigrants seeking to escape a condition become intolerable at home because of economic, religious, and political oppression. As these conditions were more or less prevalent in all parts of the European world, there was a sprinkling of many nationalities among the colony servant class. Of course, since the Catholics were discouraged from coming, the immigrants were representative of the northern Protestant nations. After a search of the Gazette, the following breakdown of nationalities can be made. It says here, table 4 nationalities of servants. It says German, including Dutch, 29, Irish, 25, English, 21, Scotch, 15, Welsh, 7, Swiss, 4, French, 4, Portuguese, 3, Scot-Irish, 2, Virginian, 2, New Englander, 1, Norwegian. All right, so the individual references were as follows. Nationalities represent them.
All right, so, you know, get the drop. All right, hold on, let me see what we got here. White proto-slavery. Okay, yeah, this is good right here.
Protestants as well. All right, so now I wanted to read from this article. It's called Plantation Production and White Proto-Slavery, White Indentured Servants and the Colonization of English West Indies, 1624-1645. All right, so indentured servants where? In the Caribbean, West Indies, plantation and production in white proto-slavery. And this is from the Americas, volume 41, number 3, from January 1985. You can find this on pages 21 to 45, about 25 pages, published by the Cambridge University Press. So it says here, the effective colonization of these islands, and they're saying St. Christopher, which is St. Kitts, in 1624, Barbados, 1627, Nevis, 1628, Montserrat and Antigua in 1632. Remember that Montserrat, we did we covered that, it was indentured servants, Irish indentured servants that were sent over there. And remember the guy was saying that it was supposedly for 100 years, the first 100 years, it was a white colony. It was all indentured servants of white people because they were Irish, they were saying white, but these were also, included people of color, and a lot of these so-called Montserrat people are the original Black Irish, actually, and they don't, they celebrate it, they go to St. Patrick's Day in Montserrat, you'll see what I'm talking about. So, and continues, says, what's possible, so these islands were possible because of early emergence of large plantations, which were clearly designed for large-scale production, and the distribution of commodities upon the world market. They were instrumental in forging an effective and profitable agrarian culture out of the unstable frontier environment of the 17th century Caribbean. These plantations therefore preceded the emergence of the sugar industry and the general use of African slave labor. So they're saying, you know, we're going to dodge the hijack. Again, what's African slave labor? It's a very small percentage. We're talking about European indentures and the Aboriginals in America being put into an indenture as well. But again, they're letting you know in this article, right, that this indenture service, this preceded, all right, this was before these agrarian culture plantations, these plantations that preceded were before so-called Africans were coming, before, all right, their whole story. Kunta Kinte, right? They developed during the formative years when the production of tobacco, cotton, and indigo dominated land use and utilized predominantly European indentured labor, okay? Predominantly European indentured labor, all right? This is the real, these were the people. So when they're telling you they founded all these with African slaves, Barbados was founded by, and all these islands were founded by, that's a lie. They're telling you straight up right here. It was indentured service, and we already know. This is again part 4 of this series. We've already read out numerous sources telling the same thing. The structure of land distribution and the nature of land tenure systems in the pre-sugar era illustrate this. Most planters who accelerated the pace of economic growth in the late 1640s and early 1650s by the production of sugar and black slave labor, so-called black, dodged the hijack. We already know indenture servitude continued up until the 1800s. Already owned substantial plantations stocked with large numbers of indentured servants, right? So even before they keep trying to throw in those tags, African, black, they're letting you know the drop in between, that these were plantations were stocked with what? Large number of indentured servants, not Africans, stocked with indentured servants. Continuing in this article in part 2, it says the system of commodity production was built upon the labor of thousands of indentured servants imported from England, Ireland, Wales, and Scotland. All right, these were the people that were supplying these Caribbean plantations, the early colonies with, and it was Europeans, again, not Africans. Unlike the Spanish settlements in the Greater Antilles, Barbados and the Leeward were not densely populated with Indians who could be reduced to chattel slavery. All right, so unlike, again, what are they letting you know here? Major drop right here. Like again, like I told you in my video, you know, who the Spanish and Portuguese were really enslaving. Who were they really enslaving? When they're talking about all these so-called Negroes that the Spanish and the Portuguese were supposedly transporting everywhere in all their colonies, these were Indians. Like they're letting you know here, it's not like the Spanish settlements, right, which they had what, a bunch of Indians to what, enslave or put into chattel slavery, or right, the Aboriginals. They weren't talking about Africans there either. The islands were part of the wider environmental and political network of the Caribs who inhabited the Lesser Antilles. The Caribs, like the European invaders, were a militant and imperial people who were in the process of establishing their hegemony in the Eastern Caribbean. So they're talking about how, you know, when the Europeans got here, they noticed how the Caribs were kind of like trying to invade the Arawaks. They did invade the Arawaks, and the Arawaks would have beef with them. They would tell them stories about how they had beef with the Caribs, and the Caribs were kind of like, you know, conquerors, you know. Their cultural matrix made any form of labor subjection by the Europeans very difficult. Duterte, the French missionary, is he a Huguenot, who was familiar with the Caribs, noted that they possessed an innate contempt for manual labor, which drove them to launch a full-scale guerrilla war against the Europeans. They won some battles and killed a large number of whites, but eventually over the 17th and 18th century, they were defeated and eliminated by Anglo-French and Dutch military pressures. To clear the very forested land, initiate production, the English in the West Indies had therefore to look outwards for a labor supply. Like the French in the New World, they looked firstly to their homeland for this labor supply. And so just like the French did the same. What did the French do? When they needed a labor supply, They went to their country, France, or wherever they had colonies in Europe or wherever they were possessed, right? And they brought in their homeland, they brought people, their own people over here, undesirables, convicts, same thing. And they didn't go to Africa. So what did the English do? They looked first in their homeland. They didn't go to Africa. They told us growing up that as soon as right away they went to Africa. They never told us anything about them going to their homeland in Europe to get slaves or labor supply, when they want to sugarcoat it.
All right. So, Cody Mill's making a point here a year ago. When did they tell us in school that they first got their free labor force from their own homelands? When did they ever tell us this in school? And when did we care to research it? Well, we just believed, we were kids. Are you kids now? Are you guys not able to think on your own and research your own things? Or are you still believing what the Texas educational whatever institute or whatever the name is of that company or institute that created the textbooks in Texas? Are you still believing those textbooks that were written after the 1900s? All right. Again, man. So we know, based on our Sephardic Moorish videos, who are the Huguenots and all that, who was really establishing the sugar plantations. We got the drop already, right, in my past videos. Where did they start that? In North Africa, the sugar plantations. Then they moved it over to the Madeiras Island, the Canaries. That was Sephardic Jews and Moors running that. And what happened? They were so good at it that the Portuguese, the Catholic Portuguese, were allowing, because they didn't want them in their country, they had kicked them out, were allowing these people who had the talent and the skills and the experience to run a sugar plantation to go settle in Brazil, in Guyana, in the Caribbean, South Carolina, all these places, right? And they were giving them grants as long as they, brought back some good money for them. All right. So these were people of color starting the plantations, and then they were getting what? Other people of color, Irish, Scottish, to go work them as indentured servants / slaves. It's not about complexion here, and everybody's not the same. We all won, not at those times. It was all about different. Everybody was on their survival stuff. All right. So that was just one source, really good source. I read a lot from this article, and just to correlate a little bit.
Who did most of the field work with the slaves. Thirdly, there were the gangs of common women who performed work about the plantations.
All right.
I want to read from this article now. It's called A Righteous and Unruly Lot. Irish Indentured Servants and Freemen in the English West Indies, 1644 to 1713 by Hilary McD Beckles. And this is from the William and Mary Quarterly, volume 47, number 4, October 1990. You can find this on pages 503 to 522, about 20 pages. Again, A Righteous and Unruly Lot. Irish indentured servants and freemen in the English West Indies. Remember, Irish in all those islands that were being populated for the sugar plantations. Well, Irish was one of them. It says here, 17th century English planters in the West Indies, like their mainland counterparts, just like the ones in North America, established plantations with white indentured servants. Like them, they had to control or suppress the unruly behavior.
And we got to dodge the hijack, right? Now, remember, they're saying white because these are Europeans. So they're assuming that all these people, or they're going with the out of Africa hijack, that blacks only came out of Africa theory. So they're saying white because there's so much records and proof and correlation and history and records, right? Records that you can verify that they still have in these churches and all these things, that they were actually bringing in Europeans to work the plantations, not Africans. Not Africans. And you know what? For me, it's getting a little late, so what I'm going to do is we're going to end it right here. I just want to go ahead and go back to this image. Again, how did we get over here? Why did I show you these old videos? Because there's new information that correlates everything that I was saying a year ago. And we got people in the chat still talking about Africa. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hold up, let me All right. And thank you, all of you, for tuning in tonight. Oh man, 3 hours. I didn't think I was gonna go this long. Pretty tired these last few days. A lot of things, but I want to get the information out. You know, been kind of held up in my day job. All right, trying to get this info out. You know, I couldn't even pre-record this like I usually do because that would take some time to edit and all that. So I'm gonna just go live and read it, you know, and take some pictures. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, if you like to support me, you know, if you ever wanted to support me, then, you know, I can truly use it now, or truly appreciate it now. If you like this information, if you've been learning a lot, you know, if you want this to continue, if you want to help me buy books, make the time for research, so I don't have to have like 2 jobs and stuff and not have time and stuff, you know. If you like to support me, not just for me, but to get this going, let's establish something. How can we do this? How can we create an online course? How can we correct history? How can we create our own textbooks? How can we use real sources to clarify real information and let the people know? How do we spread this information so there's not so much conjecture, assumptions, hijacks, doctrines, Pan-African views, you know, hijacks all over the place. Confusion. It really is just confusion. And a lot of this confusion is by people who don't really research. Because you know what? They're stuck on a belief. They don't want to research this stuff. And that's, honestly, I'm gonna be real. Don't want to read. You don't want to research this. It's all out there. This info is all out there. If I could do it, you can do it. But you know what? You've been stuck on Kuta and Kinte. You've been stuck on we all from this, we all from that. You know, so you've never really put 2 and 2 together. All right. So just bear with me 1 second. Let me just put on a little bit of the music. Hold up. All right. That actually was my Patreon. So it's patreon.com/Curimeo. All right. So just change the, after the .com, put /Curimeo. You'll make it to my page. And my page, I can't show you all the posts I have here for some reason, but when you're a patron, you can see all the other posts. Past this one from September of 2018, I've been sharing stuff here. All right. Books like 103 Amazing Facts About the Black Indian of the Western Hemisphere, and like the Encyclopedia of American Indigenous Inventions and Contributions. We got Curimeo Meditation Season 2. All right. We got The Illegal Beginnings of American Slavery, Making Indians White, A Pictorial History of America, another Pictorial History of the Western World. These are really good books showing images of the Indians, how they look like. Let me just see if we can just show this one, just for example, A Pictorial History of the United States. What do you guys see here? Who's that right there? A Pictorial History of the United States. And you're saying you came from Africa. So all so-called black people came from Africa. Everybody who's dark skinned came from Africa. When we got a primary source here, very old book showing the Indian, right? And look how he's sitting. It looks like almost like the Britannica symbol. You know, if you guys know the Britannica, the lady, the goddess, she's sitting like on some kind of thing, holding something. Where did they really get that from? Why does it look like he's doing that same thing? All right, so let's see here for the use of schools. All right, Pictorial History of America. So these are the kind of things you get as a Patreon. For patrons only, look at this one. This one's actually pretty good too. This is Ancient American Volume 4. This is a magazine. I got all these magazines and I share them here as well. I actually gotta remind me. Actually, I reminded I need to do that, share some more of these magazines. The Conquest of America, American Indian Slavery, Oh, 1896 article from the Kansas City Journal says the Maya are the first to civilize the rest of the world. From 1896, Kansas City Journal. That's a great article. That's a whole different topic. Untold Ancient American Truth. That's another series I got. Where's the true old world? And you still stuck in Africa. 6 books. 6 books. Check this out. Six books just in this one post. The American Indian, Unishiniba. The Spanish settlements within the present limits of the United States. Old Panama and Castilla de Lora, narrative history of discovery, conquest, and settlement by the Spaniards of Panama, Darien, Veragua, Santo Domingo, Santa Marta, Cartagena, Nicaragua, and Peru. Personal narrative of travels to the equinoctial regions of America. In the land of cave and cliff dwellers, a new voyage and description of the isthmus of America. These books are primary sources. They're very old, first-hand accounts of the actual Spaniards. So no interpretations, no school book textbooks telling you what they said. You actually can go read it and see what they said. Because when you're in school, they show you one sentence in the whole book that fits their narrative, but they leave out 600 other pages. All right. So again, I know a lot of you may not be able to help, and that's okay. I don't expect everybody to. Those who can and are willing and able to, and you really want to make a difference right now and help me, humbly, if you'd like to help me, I have a lot of things here for you. Look at this one right here. This is a 20-foot chronology of the history of man. Let me just show you guys this real quick. All right, I've shown this in previous videos. I haven't even used it as much as I should. This is how big it is. It's 20 feet if you print it out. Let me zoom in. Let me show you guys. A lot of you've seen this already in my past videos. This is awesome. I call it a chronology of hijack and details. That's what I call it. So this is like, the mainstream narrative and stuff, but there's babies in here to pull out. And of course, it starts with Adam and Eve and all that, but there's babies in here to pull out. All right. So, this is another one you get. Again, you can print this out. It's 20 feet long. It's 20 feet long. All right. It gives you a genealogy of some people, certain historic people. Of course, they're going to draw a whole bunch of white people here. Of course. Right. But we know the Romans, the Edomites, Edomians, the Edomites, Edomia, Roman. We know these were people of color too, not just Esau wasn't white. All right, look at the old Roman pottery, all the old Roman frescoes, the walls in the catacombs, all that to show people of color. All right, so that's this one right here. Oh, look at this one. 24 books, the Lost Tribes. Look at this. Who's that right there? Who's that right there? Those are Africans right there? Really? 24 books, the Lost Tribes of Israel in America. So we're not talking about Bible here. We're not talking about religions here. We're talking about true history. I'm telling you, you are the book. All right. I know you got your opinions. A lot of you send me the messages on Instagram. Cootie Mel, I like your videos, but the Hebrew thing, this ain't about religion. And I'm like, I was never talking about religion. But if you knew what they were wearing, their traditions, their ceremonies, and when you read that in the Old Testament, you're like, wait, man, how come these people were actually practicing, living it, what is being told in the Torah before they even knew the Torah existed? All right, because we got primary sources, we got real records, we got scholarly books here. This is 24 books. I got a whole series on this. I know a lot of you not digging that, but hey, you can't choose truth. Truth is truth. You don't choose what part of truth you want to accept. All right, and this ain't a religious thing. I'm not a Hebrew Israelite out there in the street screaming at people. That's a hijack. Honestly, that's silliness to me. Honestly, all right. So 24 books just in this one post. So you become a Patreon, you get access to all these books. And look at this, you get access to my image designs folder where, I make images and I put it up in a folder and you have access to this folder right away. You can have all these images that I've created. All right. America Before. What is this? America Before is the brand new book, the latest book from Graham Hancock. What did Graham Hancock really do? Well, I've been following Graham Hancock since 1998. Well, let me see, when is it? Yeah, The Sign and the Seal. That was one of his books, really old book. And, you know, I was very into, I read Fingerprints of the Gods, The Underworld. You know, he got some great books back then, you know, when I didn't know really much, but I was learning, and it was interesting what he was researching. And what did he determine after all his years of research? That everything ended up in America. It all ended up here. America before. The keys to Earth's lost civilization. All right. So you get access to this book, A Reporting Condition of the Freedmen of Mississippi, presented to the Western Sanitary Commission. All right. This is from the Natchez. Sacred Mysteries among the Mayas and Quichus 11,500 years ago. Their relation to the sacred mysteries of Egypt, Greece, and Chaldea, and India. All right. Where did the sports and Olympics originate? Native American mythology, A to Z. Some documentaries. Okay, so these documentaries are great video documentaries. A lot of these, I grab clips of them and I put them in my videos. So what this is basically where I have them, the full documentaries, if you guys ever wanted to have them, you know. So there's a lot of benefits here. I bet you a lot of my patrons don't even know they have access to this, because a lot of them don't take advantage. They, you know, and that's fine. Some of them don't, they just want to help. If you're interested in a lot of these books, this is a great book. I did a whole video on this, part 13 of my series, From Indigenous American to African American. What does it say? Unexpected Faces in Ancient America. Not just one look, many different phenotypes. Many different phenotypes, not just one look. Where's the true old world? Where is the true old world? All right, and then on my series that we just actually saw today, the White Slavery series, you got 4 books in here, great books. White Slavery in the Barbary States, White Servitude in the Colony of Virginia, A Study of the System of Indentured Labor in the American Colonies, White Cargo, The Forgotten History of Britain's White Slaves, They Were White and They Were Slaves. Some classics right there. A lot of them a little bit old with a little bit of Pan-African views, but we know how to dodge the hijack. Researches into the lost histories of America, the zodiac shown to be the old terrestrial map in which the Atlantic ISO is delineated so the light can be thrown upon the obscure. Okay, that's a deep book right there. This one, Royal Genealogies, or the Genealogical Tales of Emperors and Kings and Princes to 1632. All right, much love and respect, Lonnie. Much love and respect. She's been supporting, and I love her for that. Been helping me out and supporting me, motivating me. Not just supporting me, she motivates me. The words, what she tells me, the email she sent me 2-3 years ago when I first met her, a lot of good motivation. I thank you for that. Very appreciate it. Atlantis in America, Navigators of the Ancient World. This is a very great book. Awesome book. I haven't even got into it like that yet. And I've already shown so much, but we still got so much to show. We still got so much to show. What is this? This book is awesome. The Lost Ways. It's a great survival natural product recipes and natural medicine book made with the knowledge of the old days of the indigenous people of America. This is a must-have right here. Much love and respect to Anu Breed for sharing this with me. Brother, thank you. Lost Ways. All right, don't miss out on this book. So yeah, this is my Patreon page again. All right, great book on Indian slavery right here. So, you know, you get all this stuff. So it's not just like, you know, give me money and all that. I try to, like, you know, keep sharing stuff here. I try to be more personal here. There's an instant message here. So you can talk to me more personally. You know, I do genealogy for my patrons, you know, I make the time to schedule a session with them, not just my patrons, but everybody. But I always put my patrons kind of first, you know, because they make the effort to support me. So I'm going to make the effort to support them with their help and their genealogy, you know. Another great book, Jews and Muslims in British Colonial America, A Genealogical History. That's a great book. All right. So I know I showed this yesterday to some of you who were here yesterday. And again, if you're really interested, you know, just come over, you know. Hey, if you can spare $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, whatever, 20, 31, whatever you can spare, I'm very appreciative. You know, it adds up. That's gas money. I had to fix my electricity yesterday. It adds up. It matters. Even if it's $1. Even if you want to donate $1. If all of you did $1, we would be good. Because we start this. We would start the schools. We would start the schools. Because they wouldn't give me $1 million because they know I changed things with $1 million. You know, I don't like saying it, but you know, I don't think they would, you know, they would get rid of me if I had $1 million. Trust me, trust that. And this is something I said way back, years ago. All right. So yeah, that's my Patreon page. All right. And hope you guys enjoyed today's presentation. Again, this was part 2 of Virginia's Colonial Soldiers. All right, we read the descriptions and everything. I hope there's no more doubt in what I'm researching, so you guys can see that we're heading in the right track here. We're not just making things up. We're not trying to make anybody un-Indian or make people Europeans or people un-African. It's just facts. We're just talking about facts. This ain't personal. This ain't about disrespect. This ain't about anything. This ain't about wanting to be cons and what they say, right? And these trolls. It's just truth. It's just truth. All right. So thank you for being here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll probably be here not tomorrow, but the next day. You know, I'm working on so many videos, guys, and they are going to be pre-recorded. I just like pre-recording them. I just feel like they run a lot smoother and they're more timely. And I can, you know, edit out the dead air and all that stuff, and the trolls and my responses to trolls. All right. But thank you once again. Shabbat Shalom for those who know for keeping it real, keeping the code. You keeping the code. Shabbat Shalom. Much love to my Kataba family out there that's always supporting me. All right. And Drop Nation, you know, Dracons on the wall right here, you know, spin that fire always. All right, new song coming out soon with 9 Spiral and Joseph the Real again. Look out for that. Thanks again for being here. Pura vida, mi gente. Pura vida, my people. Pure life, family, familia. Hawa.